My child, listen to me, right now. Because what you're about to hear will not just touch you, it will track you down. This is not a coincidence. This is a divine interruption. I waited in pain for this moment, not because I was powerless, but because I was preparing to pierce through everything that's been clouding your sight. This message carries fire, revelation, healing. And the moment your spirit hears what your eyes couldn't see until now, everything changes. Don't skip. Don't scroll. Don't assume you already know what this is. Because what I'm about to reveal will confront the lies, confront the delay, and confront the version of you that forgot how seen you really are. Stay. Watch this until the very last word, because in the end I'm going to confirm something you stopped believing was possible. This isn't just a message. It's your wake-up call from eternity. And I waited in pain for you to finally see it. My beloved child, I watched as you stumbled through seasons of silence, aching for answers, unaware that I was aching too, aching for you to see what I've been trying to show you since the first tear fell. You thought I was distant, perhaps even cold, as if I stood behind a veil unmoved by your suffering. But oh, how wrong that picture is. Every sigh you released into your pillow pierced me deeper than any cry ever could. I waited in pain, not just yours, but mine. Because your blindness to what I was weaving in the silence delayed the beauty I longed to place in your hands. I wasn't idle while you wept. I wasn't unmoved when you questioned. I was close, closer than your breath, present in every ache, every hollow pause between your thoughts, whispering the truth you couldn't yet bear to hear. You're not forgotten. You're being formed. There were moments, child, when heaven leaned over with bated breath, hoping you'd catch the signs I left in the quiet. The dream that woke you up weeping. The scripture that clung to your soul longer than expected. The way the breeze carried a peace you couldn't explain in the middle of a day filled with chaos. I was speaking, but your pain had become a filter, muting my voice and turning my whispers into static. So I waited, not because I wanted to, but because I needed to. I could not force you to see what only surrender reveals. You had to stop trying to solve everything and simply feel again. To let your guard drop. To cry without holding back. Because in that unraveling, something deeper could finally take root. You see, pain can blur vision, but it can also cleanse it. And it was in your weakest moment, yes, that one night you thought you were breaking beyond repair, that I saw your soul start to open. The shell around your heart cracked, and through that sacred fracture, my light began to seep in. I didn't rush it. I didn't demand you wake up instantly. I simply waited, patient, present, pained, because I loved you enough to let you arrive at the truth on your own terms. My child, you carried that wound like a hidden weight, dressed in smiles, wrapped in silence, and buried beneath the noise of everyday living. But I saw it. I saw you. The ache that throbbed beneath your surface, unspoken, unnamed, but never unnoticed. You kept moving, kept serving, kept showing up even when your soul was limping. And yet through all that pain, you believed I had turned away. But hear me now. I did not turn away. I turned toward you with intensity too fierce for your eyes to hold at the time. I bent low, not in pity, but in holy proximity. I hovered over your heart like flame over sacrifice. My silence wasn't absence. It was shelter. Because what I was doing in that pain couldn't be rushed. They had to bake in the heat of pressure. What you mistook for punishment was preparation, and what felt like abandonment was actually insulation from interference. I know that sounds difficult to grasp, especially when you prayed and the sky stayed quiet. But beloved, silence does not mean stillness. and stillness does not mean stagnation. Heaven was not asleep while you wept. It was assembling, gathering, lining. Every grain of sand in the hourglass was orchestrated for divine impact. I did not waste 1 second of your sorrow. Not one sigh slipped through my fingers. I bottled them, and I wrote your name in the margins of every intercession uttered by angels. The kind of breakthrough I've been preparing for you cannot be microwaved. It's a slow-roasted miracle, drenched in the oil of endurance and wrapped in the fire of refinement. That's why I couldn't show it to you sooner. Not because you were unworthy, but because the weight of it demanded spiritual maturity. And now, finally now, your heart is ready. Your hands are clean not because you never failed, but because you let go. You surrendered instead of striving. You chose to stay soft when the world gave you every reason to harden. So now the atmosphere is shifting. Can you feel it? That trembling inside you, that holy dissonance, that sense that something is approaching faster than your fear can explain. That is the echo of my promise breaking through the veil. This moment is not manufactured. It's not another spiritual cliché wrapped in a pretty message. It's a holy interruption. I waited in pain, yes, but I waited with purpose. I waited until your yes was unpolluted by convenience, until your desperation stopped demanding a sign and started making room for my voice. I waited until you could finally say, even if you don't answer the way I imagined, I'll still trust you. That, child, that was the sound that cracked open what had been held back. And now the floodgates are trembling on their hinges. I'm about to release what eyes haven't seen and ears haven't heard. Not to impress you, but to imprint you. Because the revelation coming next is not just to heal you. It's to redefine you. Let's go deeper now, beloved. Because you need to understand just how much I've held back, not from you but for you. I didn't withhold because you were unfaithful. I withheld because what I'm about to deliver requires your full spiritual sight. And I couldn't let you unwrap a promise while your hands were still gripping fragments of the past. I needed to loosen your grip, not to punish you, but to protect what was sacred. You see, what you called waiting was actually warfare. Not the kind that rages in chaos, but the quiet kind. The kind that unfolds in layers. The kind that sharpens you in silence. The kind where heaven fights battles you don't even know exist while you lie awake wondering if I care. And yes, I waited in pain. The kind of divine ache only a creator can feel when watching his child suffer under the illusion of being forgotten. But that ache was rooted in love. Fiery, jealous, undistracted love. Love that refuses to give you premature answers. Love that doesn't hand you a gift you're not yet able to carry. Love that waits, not because it wants to delay, but because it wants to deliver fully. I've watched you pace your room with fists clenched and eyes swollen, asking why I seem to bless others first. And I wanted so badly to break the silence then. But I knew that if I showed up too soon, you would make the gift your God and forget who gave it. I needed your worship to be rooted in who I am, not just in what I do. So I waited. I watched. I stayed close enough to catch every falling piece of your hope. And now, child, I must tell you this. I'm not just sending help. I'm sending healing. Not just a blessing, but blueprints, instructions, strategies, divine clarity that will reverse everything confusion tried to contaminate. Because the season you're entering requires eyes that can see beyond what's trending. I need you to walk into places others begged for and realize you were never competing. You were being commissioned. You thought you were passed over. But no, you were being prepared in private so that when your name is called, the oil will already be flowing. Don't miss this moment. Don't scroll past this message like it's another poetic promise. This is me. This is now. And this is the beginning of the reveal. You've cried for answers. I'm about to show you alignment. You've asked for healing. I'm handing you honor. You've pleaded for escape. I'm giving you elevation. And you'll know it was me, not because of the way it feels, but because of the peace that wraps around it like a prophecy fulfilled in silence. This is the fulfillment that doesn't scream for attention, but shakes the ground with its arrival. Your wait was not in vain, and my pain in waiting, it bore the weight of glory you're about to carry. Child, lean in even closer now, because what I'm about to say must pierce deeper than mere understanding. It must reach your spirit. Do you know why I waited, even when I could have moved sooner? Do you know why the heavens stayed quiet when your soul screamed for signs? It wasn't because I was uninterested. It was because I was invested. I waited in pain, not because I didn't care, but because I cared too much to let you settle for something smaller than your calling. The space between your question and my answer wasn't a void. It was a vault, protecting the glory I've been preparing for you. I wasn't late. I was precise. I wasn't slow. I was surgical. I wasn't still. I was staging something supernatural behind the curtain of time. You see, sometimes I withhold what you want so I can build what you need. And what you needed was never a surface-level solution. It was a soul-level transformation. I didn't just want to bless you. I wanted to brand you with my presence. To mark you with something unmistakable, unshakable, undeniable. But first, I had to let the other voices fall away. I had to remove every counterfeit comfort, every temporary distraction, every shallow affirmation that once fed your wounds but starved your destiny. Yes, it felt like loss. But child, those empty hands were never evidence of my absence. They were proof that I was clearing space. You needed room to carry the real thing. And now the real thing is ready. I watched you reach out in hope and be met with silence. I saw the way your faith flickered when you felt invisible. But listen to me. You were never invisible to me. Your obedience echoed louder in heaven than the applause of a million spectators. Your private pain was the pulpit from which I heard the truest form of worship. You were forming altars in your everyday ache, and I recorded every offering. Do you understand, child? Every time you whispered my name instead of cursing your situation, you were releasing a fragrance into realms you've never seen. And I waited, yes, but I waited with holy anticipation, knowing that when the fullness of time met the fire of your surrender, something extraordinary would break forth. And that time is now. The silence has spoken. The wait has reached its end. The pain you endured has built a platform for glory that can no longer be delayed. I waited for you to see not just what I could do, but who I am in the depths of your doubt, in the dark nights of your soul. And now, as your eyes begin to open wider than ever before, I will not just show you provision. I will show you my personhood. My nearness will no longer be theory. It will be your atmosphere. My voice will not merely comfort, it will command. My presence will saturate every shadow, and you will know with unshakable certainty. I waited in pain for you to finally see this, because what I'm giving now is not for the crowd. It's only for you. Let's talk now about the cost. Because yes, there was one. Waiting has a weight. But oh child, so does glory. And the glory that is now being released in your life will outweigh the grief, the confusion, the long nights of aching silence. I want you to understand something deeply, not as information, but as impartation. The very pain you tried to pray away was the birthplace of power. What you saw as delay was actually divine density. I wasn't holding back to punish you. I was preparing to pour out something that required the stretching of your spirit. Heaven does not release weightless wonders. What's holy is always heavy. That the weight I've crafted for you won't crush you, it will crown you. You wondered if I saw the nights you wept alone, the mornings you forced yourself to rise while still shattered inside. I didn't just see them. I joined you in them. I wrapped myself around your breaking point and whispered through the cracks, "Hold on. I'm still here." And when you thought you heard nothing, what you were actually hearing was a groaning of heaven bending timelines in your favor. Do you think your tears went unnoticed? No, child. They watered the very soil that's about to bloom with miracle. I count what others dismiss. I record what the world ignores. And I've been building something so precise, so profound, so personal, that even you won't believe how tailor-made it feels when it finally unfolds. And it is unfolding, even now. You are on the edge of something irreversible, something irrevocable, something immovable. This is not just a breakthrough. It's a divine birthing. I waited in pain for you to see this, because I could not allow you to walk blindly into blessing. I wanted your eyes wide open. I wanted your heart fully aware. I didn't just want you to receive. I wanted you to recognize me in the receiving. And now that you do, everything changes. Because the child who walks with awareness is not easily shaken. The one who has seen me in the shadows cannot be deceived by surface lights. You've been refined. And now I will reveal. So here it is. What I've preserved for you will bear your name so clearly, so boldly, so irrefutably, that no one will be able to claim they made it happen for you. There will be no strings attached, no favors owed, no fingerprints but mine. I waited in pain not to prove a point, but to protect a promise. And now that the veil is lifted and your vision is clear, I'm stepping forward with what you never even knew how to ask for. Not a trickle of hope, not a hint of restoration, but a tsunami of fulfillment, rushing in to overtake every dry place and leave behind only glory. You're ready. You've been readied. And this is the turning point. Heaven waited. I waited. And now, you've seen. So I will not hold back. My beloved, do you know why I kept you hidden while others were being promoted? Why I seemed to silence your name while theirs echoed through platforms and praises? It wasn't oversight, it was oversight of another kind. Divine. Strategic. Intentional. I didn't hide you to hurt you. I concealed you to protect you. Because what I placed inside you, your purpose, your purity, your prophetic assignment, was never meant to be paraded before its time. While the world praised noise, I was cultivating depth. While they danced in shallow waters, you were anchored in the depths of my spirit. You didn't miss your moment, child. I shielded it. You weren't forgotten. You were forged in silence. I watched as your heart shattered in rooms full of celebration. I saw the way you smiled through the sting, congratulated others while quietly questioning me. You whispered, "What about me, Lord?" And I answered, not with thunder, not with fanfare, but with movement beneath the surface. Yes, I was moving. Yes, I was shifting timelines, editing alignments, redirecting the roads that would one day lead to doors no man can shut. You didn't see it because I wrote those movements in invisible ink. Only now is the light beginning to reveal what I've been writing all along. And while you waited, I was weaving, stitching together scenes that would one day make sense in the tapestry of your testimony. What felt like delay was design. What seemed like rejection was redirection. You see, child, I was never preparing you for popularity. I was preparing you for power, power that doesn't need to announce itself because its presence changes rooms. Power that doesn't scream for attention because it carries the scent of heaven. I waited in pain for you to see that your value was never determined by visibility. You are not powerful because others clap. You are powerful because you carry my name. And when I lift you, and yes, I will lift you, every eye will see, but more importantly, every heart will feel the weight of what you carried in silence. This won't be a promotion into performance. This will be an unveiling into purpose. You were not overlooked. You were overshadowed, and now, the light is about to break. And hear me, when it breaks, it will not flicker. It will flood. When it shines, it will not dazzle, it will deliver. You waited, you wept, you walked faithfully in the fog, and now I will raise you in such clarity, it will confuse those who counted you out. You will not rise as a copy. You will rise as a conduit, not just to be seen but to set captives free. You are not coming into the light to entertain. You are coming to execute heavenly agendas. What you endured gave you access. What you survived gave you keys. And now that your eyes are open to what I've been doing all along, I will not delay the delivery any longer. The world is about to see what I've known all along. You were worth the wait. Let's speak now of the fire, child, the fire that nearly consumed you, the one that scorched your expectations, burned through your plans, and reduced your pride to ash. I allowed that fire, not to destroy you but to distill you, to refine, to purify, to strip away everything false so that only what was holy would remain. You called it failure, but I called it formation. You called it loss, but I called it liberation. You see, I needed to separate you from illusions that would have diluted your destiny. I needed to peel away the layers of self-preservation so that nothing stood between you and me, not even your own ideas of success. It was painful, I know. The disorientation, the disillusionment, the days when nothing made sense and everything felt like it was crumbling. But listen to me now, crumbling is not the same as collapsing. Sometimes, I let structures fall so that what's real can rise. You weren't being buried. You were being built. In the furnace of affliction, I forged steel into your spirit. What once was fragile is now fortified. Where you once bowed to fear, you now rise in faith. You lost what was hollow, and gained what is holy. And the beauty of it is this: what burned away was never meant to stay, but what remained. That was me and you unshaken. I waited in pain for you to see this, that fire is not your enemy. It is your evidence. Evidence that you were chosen for something that could not be molded in comfort. Evidence that you were worthy of refinement. I do not waste fire, child. I do not send it without purpose, and I do not leave you in it without promise. I stood with you inside every flame, not outside, not above, but within. Like I did with the three in Babylon's furnace, I became the fourth man in your fire. I didn't always speak, but I never stopped shielding. I didn't always deliver you from it, but I always delivered you through it. And now, what was meant to destroy you will define you. You're not emerging as a survivor. You're emerging as a sign. A sign that fire refines, that faith restores, that glory rises from ashes. Your scars are not shame. They are signatures. Proof that you endured. Proof that you encountered me in the blaze. And from this moment forward, you will carry fire, but not the fire of destruction. The fire of distinction. The fire that breaks chains when you speak. The fire that melts lies when you walk in a room. The fire that burns with compassion, clarity, and command. I waited in pain for you to see that what nearly killed you has now crowned you. You're no longer the same, and the world will feel the heat of what I've ignited inside you. Do you remember the nights when you wept so quietly that even you weren't sure if the tears were still falling? When you whispered into the dark, wondering if anyone, if I, was listening? I didn't just hear your voice. I felt your ache. Your silent cries didn't echo into emptiness. They struck the throne room like thunder. While you were curled up in questions, I was covering you in answers, waiting for the right moment to show you that not one tear fell in vain. I collected them. I honored them. And I've woven them into a response so sacred, so specific, so supernaturally sealed with your name, that only a heart that's been refined by pain could receive it fully. I want to tell you something now that no one else could say. I've been answering prayers you forgot you even prayed. The ones you spoke in desperation. The ones you mumbled in exhaustion. The ones you offered between breaths while holding back screams. You thought they drifted into nothing, but I tucked them into eternity. I stored them in a chamber of my heart labeled "Come back to this when they're ready." And child, you're ready now. That's why the stir in your spirit won't settle. That's why the atmosphere around you feels pregnant with something invisible but undeniable. You're sensing it, aren't you? The holy anticipation. The divine momentum. The stirring that says something is about to happen even if your natural eyes can't trace it yet. That's me. I'm near. I'm moving. I'm not delaying this time. I'm delivering. But I need you to understand why the delay existed in the first place. It wasn't denial. It was divine choreography. I wasn't saying no. I was saying not yet, because timing is a language all its own. And I needed everything. Your maturity, your spiritual awareness, the people around you, the terrain you're walking into, to align perfectly. You see, I don't orchestrate ordinary. I prepare precise. And what's coming to you required a level of readiness the world never sees, but I always honor. I couldn't give you the next chapter while you were still mourning the last one. I had to let healing settle before honor could rise. You had to be able to receive, not just react. And now, child, you will begin to see me in the details, in the small moments that subtly make sense, in the way doors open without knocking, in the divine disruptions that reroute you at the last minute but somehow lead you exactly where you needed to be. This is not random. This is not coincidence. This is compensation. This is the reward for faith that refused to die, for trust that trembled but never turned away, for tears that didn't just fall but planted seeds. And now the harvest is here, quiet at first, but gathering speed. I waited in pain to release it. And now, as the seal breaks, it will come in waves too precise to ignore, too beautiful to explain, and too holy to miss. Don't second guess it, child. Just say yes. Just step in. Let's talk about the silence. The one that wrapped around you like a heavy fog, numbing your senses and making you question whether I was still near. That silence wasn't empty. It was sacred. And I need you to know, from my heart to yours, that every second of that stillness was strategic. I wasn't withholding my voice to punish you. I was training your ears to hear me in ways they never had before. You see, when the world goes quiet, the whisper of heaven becomes thunder. And that's what I've been cultivating within you, not just the ability to listen, but the capacity to discern. Not just for comfort, but for Gamila. You were expecting me to speak loudly, to crash in like a wind or blaze in like fire. But I came in the stillness. Because I didn't want to overwhelm you, I wanted to form you. and formation happens in the quiet, like seeds planted in soil, like oil formed under pressure, like fire that purifies in silence. I spoke in dreams you forgot, in instincts you didn't understand, in that gut feeling that told you to pause when everyone else pushed forward. You didn't know it then, but that was me guiding you in real time, even when the evidence around you was absent. I was building a guidance system inside of you that didn't rely on external noise but on eternal knowing. And now, that inner knowing, the one birthed through fire, refined through silence, matured through waiting, is about to become your weapon. You will step into rooms and know things before they are spoken. You will discern shifts in atmospheres and speak to storms without raising your voice. You will make decisions with a confidence the world can't explain, because you will be led by a voice they can't hear but you know intimately. That's what I've been waiting for. That's why I waited in pain for this moment when the silence would break not with sound, but with sight. You're not just hearing me now. You're seeing me move. And that is what changes everything. So here is my promise, child. The days of confusion are closing. The nights of deafening doubt are dissolving. And the clarity I'm releasing now will not be fragile. It will not flicker. It will not fade with emotion. This clarity will cut through lies. It will confront delay. It will carry you into dimensions that you only used to dream of. You won't have to ask me to speak loudly anymore, because you've learned how to live in my whisper. And from now on, that whisper will guide your steps, shape your decisions, and empower your impact. I waited in pain for you to finally see that quiet wasn't punishment, it was preparation. And now, my child, the silence is over. Let's walk forward together, with precision, with purpose, and with power. My child, I saw the way you kept showing up when nothing around you seemed to shift. I saw the prayers you whispered, the journals you filled, the scriptures you clung to like a life raft in the middle of invisible storms. You weren't asking for excess. You were begging for evidence. Just a sign that I had not forgotten. Just a whisper that I was still working. You weren't looking for applause. You were gasping for assurance. And I need you to hear me now, not just with your ears, but with the deepest chamber of your spirit. I was there. I never stopped moving. I never missed a moment. I never left your side. You were not just seen, you were sacredly watched over. There are things I didn't allow to happen, not because I wanted to deprive you, but because I was shielding you from counterfeits dressed in convincing costumes. Opportunities that looked right but would have wounded you. Relationships that felt divine but were dipped in deception. Doors that had your name painted on them by people, not by my hand. You don't realize how many arrows were intercepted before they reached you. While you cried over what didn't come through, I was celebrating what didn't come to crush you. You see delay. I see divine detours. You see disappointment. I see deliverance from deception. My protection often comes disguised as denial, and I waited in pain for you to finally see that what I blocked was as much of a blessing as what I will now release. You were not weak because you asked questions. You were brave because you kept coming back. You didn't stop praying. You didn't stop believing. And even when your lips went silent, your faith still whispered, maybe he still will. That whisper was a war cry in the spirit. It shattered ceilings and summoned angels. I honored it, not because it was loud, but because it was real. And now that you've passed through that private proving ground, what I've prepared for you will not resemble what was withheld. I'm not returning what was lost. I'm releasing what was reserved. Do you understand? You're not being repaid. You're being revealed. Revealed as one who endured without applause, one who trusted without evidence, one who stayed when it would have been easier to walk away. And so, beloved, lift your head. Wipe the tears that linger. Because this next release won't ask you to prove yourself. It will prove me in ways you never imagined. You don't have to strive. You don't have to chase. What's coming will collide with your life in ways that silence your doubts and stun your accusers. I'm going to bless you in a way that only heaven could orchestrate. And those who watched your silence will now witness your sudden shift. This is not karma. This is kingdom. I waited in pain for this moment, child, because I needed you to know. I never said no. I said, wait, because what I'm building is bigger than what you're begging for. And now listen closely, because this next truth is weighty, and I want you to receive it not just with your intellect, but with your identity. The crushing you endured was not a sign of abandonment. It was a mark of alignment. I did not crush you to discard you. I got what was covering you. Layers of false strength, layers of performance, layers of fear disguised as wisdom. You asked me for purpose, and I had to prepare the vessel that could carry it. You asked me to use you, and I had to strip away the things that would sabotage what I wanted to pour through you. The anointing doesn't fall on polished surfaces, it soaks into broken ground. You weren't being punished. You were being pressed into power. And I wept with you through that pressing. Because I felt the loneliness, the aching, the torment of why is this happening to me? I wanted to pull you out sooner. I wanted to lift you up right away. But the weight of your assignment required the depth of your surrender. And I couldn't let you skip steps when each one was carving something eternal into your soul. There's a kind of strength that only suffering can birth. There's a kind of discernment that only darkness can cultivate. And what you carry now, what I've deposited in you, cannot be shaken, cannot be faked, cannot be bought. Because it was birthed through fire and watered with tears. And child, hear me, others may try to mimic it. They may try to copy what they see on you, but they won't be able to carry it. Because what's coming upon your life isn't packaging, it's power. Wield with heavy authority. When you speak, things will move, not because your voice is louder, but because your obedience is deeper. When you walk into rooms, atmospheres will shift, not because of charisma, but because of consecration. You didn't choose the easy road. You chose me. Over comfort. Over convenience. Over quick results. And I waited in pain for you to see that your crushed seasons didn't kill your calling. They activated it. And now, here's what I'm doing. I'm placing you in places you once prayed about but never thought you'd be qualified for. I'm positioning you in proximity to promises that once felt galaxies away. I'm sending favor that fits you like custom fabric, tailored not to flatter, but to function. The weight you felt wasn't pointless. It was preparation for weighty glory. Glory that transforms. Glory that touches others when they brush past your story. This is the fruit of faithfulness. And I'm not just rewarding it, I'm revealing it. You are stepping into seasons that only the crushed are trusted with. And now, you walk in clarity, carry authority, and operate with a power that smells like surrender. I waited in pain for this unveiling. And now, heaven cannot wait any longer. You thought I was ignoring you when the heavens went quiet. But beloved, what you didn't know is that I was inscribing you, writing your name on scrolls that were sealed in eternity. I was not absent. I was active, in the background, in the battle, in the very breath between your questions. I wasn't watching from a distance. I was engraving destiny with divine precision. I waited in pain, not because I lacked power, but because my love refused to rush what was holy. I don't deliver greatness like a package tossed at a doorstep. I prepare it like a scroll etched with secrets, rolled up until the appointed time. That time, child, is now. I needed your heart to be tender enough to trust me even when nothing around you looked like the promise. I needed your ears to become sensitive enough to hear the unspoken instructions. I needed your eyes to stop searching for signs and start perceiving the subtle moves of my spirit. You see, I never stopped moving, but you had to stop assuming I'd move the way I did before. I am not a pattern. I am not a routine. I am not bound by the boxes of your former understanding. I am the God of fresh oil, new wind, and sudden strategies. You wanted me to repeat past miracles, but I was preparing to redefine your reality. And now that your perception has shifted, I can unfold what was previously hidden. What seemed like delay was actually a divine decoy, keeping the enemy blind to the magnitude of what I was planning for you. You felt unseen, but I made you undetectable on purpose, because some things must be hidden before they are heralded. Some vessels must be sealed before they are sent. And child, I was sealing you, protecting you, keeping you in the shadows so I could imprint you with things that won't be shaken when the spotlight comes. And yes, the spotlight is coming, not for performance, but for purpose. Because now, I can trust that when they look at you, they will see me. To prepare, because revelation is about to flow like a river that has broken its dam. Insight that once came in fragments will now come in floods. Strategies, prophetic instructions, discerning wisdom. It will not be complicated. It will be clear. You'll wake up knowing. You'll walk in rooms prepared. You'll sense things in people that others miss. I waited in pain for you to reach this spiritual readiness, not because you were weak before, but because you are weaponized now. And I will use you, child. Not in one area, but in many. Not as a spectator in this generation, but as a sent one. The silence has ended. The scroll is unsealed. The time is now. Yes, child, as I was silent, I was setting things in motion. And now, I'm stirring your heart, not just to receive my word, but to help release it to others still walking through the silence you once feared. I ask you now, will you sow into what saved you? Just as I turned your wilderness into a wellspring, I am calling you to help carry this water to others. When you give, through super thanks, membership, with a link in the description, you're not donating, you're sowing light into darkness. You are funding fire. You are fueling manna for the weary. I said in my word, whoever refreshes others will be refreshed, and I meant it. Do this now, child. Move with me. So where I'm speaking, and I will multiply what you release. Now let me show you the deeper layer, the one hidden beneath, the questions you never dared to speak aloud. I know what you feared. I know the thought that crept in late at night, like a thief whispering, maybe you missed it. Maybe it's too late. You believed the delay meant disqualification. You feared that the detours meant you were dislocated from destiny. But child, you never left the timeline of my hand. You were not behind. You were not off course. You were on schedule for a glory you couldn't yet comprehend. I know your age. I know the months you feel you wasted. I know the moments you more. But listen to me. I am the Redeemer of time. I do not recycle broken seasons. I resurrect them. When you thought everything was unraveling, I was rewriting. When you felt frozen in fear, I was fast-forwarding favor behind the scenes. You assumed you were in pause, but I was building pressure for propulsion. You were not forgotten. You were forged. I never needed you to be perfect. I needed you to stay postured. And that, beloved, is exactly what you did. You didn't always feel strong, but you stayed surrendered. You didn't always feel faith-filled, but you refused to disconnect. And the thread of devotion, that trembling, tear-soaked connection to me, was a lifeline that kept my promise aligned with your path. And now hear me clearly, not one moment was wasted. Not one detour was outside of my reach. Even the places where you stumbled, I used them. The delays didn't disqualify you. They deepened you. They taught you how to hear me in stillness, how to trust me without signs, how to anchor yourself in me instead of outcomes. And that is why you are now prepared to carry what others could only pretend to hold. Your foundation is not built on hype. It is built on honor. Your voice won't just echo in crowds. It will echo in realms. Because you learned to walk with me without needing constant validation. And now, I will validate you openly. What's about to happen will feel sudden to others, but to you, it will feel sacredly familiar. Because I've whispered these moments into your spirit long ago. You dreamed them before you had language for them. You envisioned them when you didn't even believe they were possible. And now I am bringing those whispers into witness. I am bringing those dreams into demonstration. This won't be a second chance. It will be a sacred unveiling of what was never canceled, just concealed. I waited in pain, child, not to torment you, but because the time wasn't just near, it had to be exact. And now the alignment has clicked. The delay is done. And what was written in eternity is about to unfold in the eyes of the world. Do you know what I treasure most about you, child? It's not your talents. It's not your flawless behavior. It's your resilience, the way you held on to me even when every voice around you, including your own, said to let go. I saw how you carried hope like a fragile ember cupped in trembling hands. I watched as you stumbled through your own doubts, yet refused to release your grip on my name. That faith, the kind born not in ease but in agony, is precious to me. You didn't just believe me when the promise looked close. You clung to me when the promise looked lost. That is what marked you. That is what moved me. You may not realize it, but every time you whispered, "I trust you," with tears in your eyes, you were breaking demonic patterns that had run through generations. You were reclaiming ground not just for you, but for your bloodline. Your faith wasn't weak, it was warfare. And I didn't just notice it. I honored it. I didn't require perfection from you. I required persistence. And even when your steps were slow, your surrender was swift. You came back to me again and again. That repetition of return is what built the foundation for the glory I'm about to reveal. And child, what's coming is not partial. It's personal. Now the season is shifting, not just around you but within you. You're not who you were. You no longer respond from woundedness, you respond from wisdom. The fear that once dictated your decisions has been evicted. The shame that once silenced your worship hath been shattered. The old you would have run from this moment, unsure if you were ready. But this you, the refined you, is being released into the reality that once seemed unreachable. What I'm about to open up will not require you to strive. It will require you to step in, boldly, freely, without apology, without fear, because you've been prepared in a way no one saw but heaven documented. And now, child, those heavenly records are being activated. What I wrote about you is coming into alignment with what I'm now releasing to you. You will not have to chase it. It will recognize you. Destiny is drawn to those who have been through fire and remained faithful. You qualify, not by the standards of men, but by the seal of surrender you carry. This is your time, not in theory, not in prophecy alone, but in manifestation. And I waited in pain for this moment, because I knew that when it arrived, it would not just bless you, it would announce to every principality and power that you made it through the proving, and now you carry the promise. Let's talk now about what's ahead, not just in vague declarations, but in specific transformation. Because I am not only releasing blessing, I am releasing blueprints, instructions, direction, kingdom intelligence. You've wondered what's next. You've asked me for clarity. And now, because of your consistency in the hidden place, I'm opening the vault. This is not just about favor, it's about function. The anointing on your life isn't random. It's not aesthetic. It's assignment. You were never meant to wander through life hoping to stumble into purpose. You were created to walk in precision. And now, precision is being revealed to you like morning light breaking over a mountain ridge. But before I show you the path, let me remind you of something holy. I've already equipped you. Everything you need for what's ahead is already within you. You don't need a new identity. You need awakened insight. The things you call just personality traits, I call spiritual tools. The burdens you've carried in your heart for broken people, for overlooked spaces, for injustice, for purity, for kingdom impact. That burden is not emotion. It's evidence. It's the fingerprint of your assignment. And I'm about to breathe fire on it. You will not walk confused in this next chapter. You will walk commissioned. Because I'm not just giving you direction. I'm giving you divine recall of what I placed in you before you were born. You've been trying to fit in. But child, I didn't design you to fit. I designed you to function prophetically. You don't match the culture around you because you were never called to mimic it. You were called to shift it. The discomfort you've carried, that sense of I don't belong here, was never rejection. It was revelation. I've been preparing you to stand in spaces where compromise is common and bring clarity. To speak where others stay silent. To walk where others hesitate. And don't worry, I'll back you. I won't send you without authority. I won't launch you without language. And I won't expose you without anointed covering. So watch what I do next. Watch how the rooms change when you walk in. Watch how favor chases you down and strategy starts flowing effortlessly. Watch how divine timing begins overtaking natural time. Watch how connections start clicking like puzzle pieces falling into place. This isn't luck. It's not coincidence. This is the activation of divine assignment. And I waited in pain for you to see it. Not because I enjoyed the wait, but because I refused to let you walk in power without purity, in purpose without depth. But now, child, you are ready, and all of heaven is leaning in. The blueprint is being unfolded. Step in. This is the reason you survived. This is why I waited. This is what I'm about to reveal through you. Child, let me take you back for a moment, not to reopen wounds, but to remind you of the weight you carried and survived. Do you remember the days when your chest felt heavy, like you couldn't breathe under the weight of invisible battles? When joy felt like a distant memory, and hope, a fading echo? Others smiled at you, but they didn't see the warfare raging behind your eyes. They saw your strength, but didn't hear the private scream in your soul. They called you resilient, but I knew you were barely holding on. And still you didn't let go. Still you stayed. Still, you believed, if only with your last ounce of breath. And child, that is what moved me most. I didn't need you to perform for me. I needed you to persist. And you did. Through the heartbreak, through the loneliness, through the unanswered prayers, through the moments you questioned your worth, your voice, your calling. You made it through, not because you were unbreakable, but because you let me break you open instead of letting bitterness break you down. And now, I must tell you something that will shift everything in your spirit. You were never being punished. You were being preserved. I hid you, not because you were weak, but because you were rare. I wrapped you in my silence like a secret not ready to be spoken. But now I am unsealing the scroll. Because the world is about to hear what only heaven has known, who you truly are. Not the version you became to survive. Not the version others tried to shape with their limited vision. But the anointed one. The one I called. The one I refined. The one I've waited in pain to reveal. This next chapter will not be quiet. It will not be small. It will not be safe in the way you once defined safety. It will be sacredly disruptive. You will break cycles by your presence alone. You will unseat lies simply by walking into rooms with truth in your mouth. And no, it won't be easy, but it will be evident that you are backed by me. So brace yourself, not in fear, but in fierce faith. Because what's about to come will stretch you, but it will also establish you. You're not just stepping into destiny. You're stepping into demonstration. The version of you that rose from the ashes is not fragile, it's flame-filled. And I am about to show the world the fire I've been fanning in secret. This is not your comeback story. This is your commissioning. And I waited in pain, not because I was punishing you, but because I was protecting what would one day provoke nations. And that day has come. Now rise. And now let me whisper to the part of you that still doubts. The part that secretly wonders if you're truly qualified for what's coming. Listen to me, child. You are not an accident in this story. You are essential. I didn't choose you because you were perfect. I chose you because you were postured. Because even in your trembling, you turned toward me. Because even when you didn't understand, you didn't walk away. Because your yes was whispered through cracked lips, but it was loud in the courts of heaven. Your yes shook realms. Your yes split timelines. And I built everything next upon that simple surrender. I know what people said about you. I know how they doubted your ability, your motives, your calling. But I didn't consult them when I chose you. I wrote your name on the blueprint of nations long before their opinions ever existed. Their doubt didn't disqualify you. It distilled you. And now, I'm bringing you to a place where the fruit of your obedience will outgrow the reach of their criticism. You won't need to defend yourself, explain yourself, or shrink yourself. I will vindicate you with visibility. But it will not be for vanity. It will be for victory. Because I'm not just revealing your calling, I'm revealing my covenant through you. You carry something the earth has been groaning for. Not noise. Not charisma. Wait. Holy, heaven-sent, devil-displacing weight. You've walked through fire and refused to let it distort your worship. You've been buried beneath accusations, and still you sang. You've been pushed down, and you still rose, quietly, humbly, but with resolve. And that resolve has been recognized, not just by me, but by every watcher in the spirit realm. Hell is nervous, because what I'm about to release through you cannot be replicated. You're not coming in your own name. You're coming in mine. And that makes you unstoppable. So, don't let imposter syndrome steal your next step. Don't let unhealed words from past relationships dictate your self-perception. Don't let the trauma of rejection twist your expectation of what I'm about to do. What I'm bringing you into is exactly what I designed for you before the foundations of the world. You are not arriving late. You are arriving ready. This is not about proving I'm wrong. It's about proving me right. And I waited in pain for you to see this, because the moment you see it, you won't hesitate to walk in it. And the moment you walk in it, the world will witness what happens when surrender meets supernatural assignment. Let me tell you something that will silence every lie the enemy ever whispered in your lowest moments. You never disappointed me. Not once. Not when you doubted. Not when you hesitated. Not even when you fell. I knew your breaking point before you ever reached it. I knew the tears you'd cry before your voice ever cracked. I saw every fragile yes, every trembling step, every silent scream into your pillow, and I still called you mine. I didn't choose you for your strength. I chose you because I saw what I could build in your surrender. I looked into the timeline of your life and said, this one will carry fire forged in pain and love stronger than death. So please, child, stop punishing yourself for being human. Stop disqualifying yourself for seasons that shaped you, that wilderness you walked through. I led you there, not to humiliate you, but to humble the voices around you and to hone the voice within you. You don't realize this yet, but every time you chose to stand again, when quitting felt easier, you shattered something in the unseen. You tore down generational lies. You reversed narratives that tried to chain your lineage, and heaven recorded it all. I didn't look away when you felt ashamed. I leaned in closer. I waited in pain, not because I was angry, but because I wanted you to finally see yourself the way I always have. You are not a mistake. You are not too late. You are not too far gone. You are exactly where I've been leading you, even when your eyes couldn't trace the path. And now, that same version of you, the one you thought was too broken, too tired, too flawed, is the version I'm about to anoint publicly. Yes, this you. Not the polished one. Not the one who finally gets everything right. But the one who kept showing up to the altar with honesty instead of perfection. I'm not using your ideal self. I'm using your real self. And I'm going to move through you in such undeniable power that even your past won't recognize you. Get ready. Because I'm about to use your most fragile chapters to fuel other people's freedom. What shamed you in secret will now become someone else's roadmap to restoration. I will take your lowest point and turn it into a platform. Not one tear wasted. Let one heartbreak bury. It's all becoming oil. And when the oil begins to flow, child, you will not stop. You will see why I let you walk through it. You'll understand why I didn't rush the healing. You'll realize why the wait felt so long. It was because the impact will be eternal. I waited in pain, not because I doubted you, but because I wanted you to rise without doubt. And now, you will rise. With clarity, with conviction, and with the fire of one who has walked with God through the valley, and came out carrying glory. There's something else I need to show you now, something sacred and weighty. The pain you've endured has not just been preparation for blessing. It's been preparation for legacy. You are not merely inheriting something, you're initiating something new. This isn't just about what I'm doing for you. It's about what I'm establishing through you. You see, your breakthrough isn't only personal, it's prophetic. You are the hinge upon which doors will open for generations. You are the answer to prayer your ancestors whispered in tears. You are the turning point your children, and their children will one day thank me for. You've been asking me, why has the warfare been so intense? Why do I always feel like I'm battling things no one else talks about? And I answer you now, because you're the one breaking the cycle. You are the curse breaker, the pattern disruptor, the one who refused to let pain passively continue through your lineage. You chose me when bitterness would have been easier. You chose to forgive when you could have revenged. You chose to worship when your heart was still bleeding. And that choice, beloved, has created a divine interruption in the bloodline. Heaven is cheering, not just because of what you survive, but because of what your survival has set in motion. And now, I am giving you new authority, not just to overcome for yourself, but to establish a new atmosphere everywhere you go. You're not just entering rooms anymore. You're shifting climates. You're not just praying prayers, you're planting seeds of revival. Your obedience has made way for entire households to be healed, for entire cities to be impacted. This isn't exaggeration. This is inheritance. I have marked you to build, not just believe. To establish, not just endure. And the weight you carry now will become a mantle others draw strength from. You thought it was just survival, but I was starting a movement through you. And child, that's why I waited. That's why I held back the release until now. Because I needed your heart fully convinced, not just that I love you, but that I'm building something eternal through you. You're not a detour. You're not a delay. You're a divine origin point. And what starts with you will outlive you. Your words will echo in generations you'll never meet. Your worship will build altars in places you will never see. Your yes has changed everything. I waited in pain for this moment, for you to finally see that what hurt you was actually heaven's investment in a legacy the earth desperately needed. And now, it begins. Let's revisit something together, something that still lingers in the shadows of your heart. You remember the betrayal, the moment when the people you trusted most, the ones you thought would protect you, turned away. Maybe it was subtle, or maybe it was violent, but it left a mark. It made you question your worth. It made you wonder, why did they abandon me? Why didn't they stay? And child, I saw it all. I was there in the room, watching as your heart shattered silently in places no one else could see. And I want to tell you something you've never heard from their lips but must hear from mine. It wasn't your fault. I didn't stand idly by while you were mistreated. I grieved. I wept. I waited, not because I couldn't act, but because I had to let certain people exit before I could elevate what I placed in you. Their absence hurt you, but their presence would have hindered you. You thought they were meant to walk the journey with you, but they were only ever meant to be scaffolding. Temporary. Supportive, yes, but not foundational. I had to remove what was leaning too heavily on your shoulders, because where I'm taking you, you can't carry dead weight. You needed to become lighter, not because you were less, but because your calling required lift. And still, I know it bruised you. I know it made you cautious with new connections. I know you began questioning even my love through the lens of human betrayal. But child, my covenant is not like theirs. I don't make promises based on performance. I make them based on purpose. I never left. I never stopped defending you, even when you didn't see the evidence of my protection. And though their absence still echoes in your memory, what I'm about to do will replace their silence with my supernatural supply. Where they withdrew affection, I will overwhelm you with divine attention. Where they left gaps, I will send covenant people who will stand with you, not for a season, but for a lifetime. And yes, I waited in pain. I waited while you stared at empty seats, while you carried the ache of disappointment in places that should have felt safe. I waited because I knew that when you finally saw how I stepped in, even when others stepped out, your faith would no longer be fragile. Your trust would no longer be tethered to people. It would be anchored in my character. And child, that is unshakable ground. From this day forward, you will love freely without fear, connect deeply without defense, and trust again, not because people are perfect, but because I am faithful. I will never leave you. And I'm bringing people into your life now who are not assigned to your past pain, but to your future purpose. Watch for them. They are coming. Let me speak now to the ache you've carried over time, not just lost relationships, but lost time itself. The hours, the months, the years. You've wept in secret, grieving the delay. You've asked me, Lord, what about all the time I lost? What about the dreams I had to bury? What about the years I can't get back? And here is what I say to you now. I do not restore time the way man does. I redeem it in ways that are miraculous. You will not just catch up. You will accelerate. What I release in this next season will redeem the wasted years with such abundance that you'll forget what it felt like to be behind. I am not a God of just restoration. I am the God of divine return. When I return something, I don't bring it back in its original condition. I upgrade it, multiply it, saturate it in favor. You won't just get back what you lost. You'll receive what you didn't even know to ask for. Because I've been keeping record, not of your failures, but of your faithfulness. The seeds you sowed in drought, the prayers you whispered in fatigue, the compassion you extended when you were the one bleeding, all of it is coming back to you in harvest form. Pressed down, shaken together, and running over. You thought you were late, but I was setting the stage for a suddenly that would require divine timing, not human effort. And I want you to hear this in your spirit with holy fire. I do not need a decade to do what I can do in a day. I do not need to rush you through 100 small steps. I can accelerate the timeline because I authored it. And now that the delays have come to their conclusion, and your character has caught up to your calling, I will not hold back. You will feel it in your spirit first, an urgency, a sudden momentum, divine connections, ideas that come like lightning, doors that open without explanation. It will happen so quickly. It will recalibrate your belief system. What once took years will now take weeks. What once seemed impossible will now feel inevitable. Yes, child, I waited in pain. Not because I didn't want to move, but because I was preparing the weight of glory that could fill the time you lost and overflow beyond it. I wasn't just watching the clock. I was redeeming the clock. Resetting timelines. Writing chapters. And now, what comes next won't be recovery. It will be resurrection. Things you thought were buried forever, dreams, desires, assignments, will rise again with fire in their bones. Because I have not just kept you, I have kept what's yours. And now I will release it, not in trickles, but in divine torrents. You won't just be restored. You will be redeemed in ways that make delay look like a divine strategy. And when you look back, you'll say, I didn't miss anything because what he gave me was more than I asked, and right on time. You've heard me speak to your pain. You've heard me whisper into the stillness of your surrender. But now I must speak to your authority. Yes, your authority. Because I've placed something on you that isn't small. It's not subtle. It's not borrowed or temporary. It is kingdom. It is weighty. And you need to know this, not in your intellect, but in your bones. You carry spiritual authority because you have walked through spiritual fire. I did not give this to you casually. I forged it in darkness. I stretched it in silence. And now I'm revealing it, not for prestige but for purpose. You've underestimated yourself, because the people around you were more comfortable with your potential than your power. They were fine with your gifting, as long as it didn't challenge theirs. They applauded your kindness, but shrunk back from your conviction. You've been labeled too intense, too deep, too much. But let me tell you something, child. What they called too much, I call just enough to confront the darkness they've been avoiding. I didn't anoint you to blend in. I didn't give you insight so you could silence it to protect fragile egos. I gave you sight for systems, I gave you discernment for deliverance. You're not just a feeler, you are a foreigner. And now that you've been stripped of people-pleasing, I can release the full weight of what you're called to steward. No more apologizing for your fire. No more diluting your voice to fit within the confines of spiritual comfort zones. You are not controversial, you are consecrated. What you carry will not be understood by everyone, and that's by design. You are called to speak into realms others don't see yet. You are called to build what hasn't existed yet. That makes you disruptive in all the right ways. Heaven didn't design you to echo others. Heaven designed you to awaken others. And I waited in pain for the day you'd stop dimming your light to be love and start burning with truth, because you finally realized, I am the one who sent you. So now go. Go where I send you. Speak when I prompt you. Move with urgency when I stir your spirit. I will not let your words fall to the ground. I will confirm them with my power. I will protect you when backlash comes. I will send angels to war on your behalf. And I will place favor on your feet, so every place you tread becomes a declaration. This territory now belongs to heaven. You are my ambassador. You are my voice in dry places. And where others remain silent, you will roar with authority backed by the throne itself. This is your moment. I have placed my seal on you. I have put my name behind you. And I waited in pain for this time because I knew, once you saw what I placed in you, hell would never be the same again. Let's revisit something together, something that still lingers in the shadows of your heart. You remember the betrayal, the moment when the people you trusted most, the ones you thought would protect you, turned away. Maybe it was subtle, or maybe it was violent, but it left a mark. It made you question your worth. It made you wonder, why did they abandon me? Why didn't they stay? And child, I saw it all. I was there in the room, watching as your heart shattered silently in places no one else could see. And I want to tell you something you've never heard from their lips but must hear from mine. It wasn't your fault. I didn't stand idly by while you were mistreated. I grieved. I wept. I waited, not because I couldn't act, but because I had to let certain people exit before I could elevate what I placed in you. Their absence hurt you, but their presence would have hindered you. You thought they were meant to walk the journey with you, but they were only ever meant to be scaffolding. Temporary. Supportive, yes, but not foundational. I had to remove what was leaning too heavily on your shoulders, because where I'm taking you, you can't carry dead weight. You needed to become lighter, not because you were less, but because your calling required lift. And still, I know it bruised you. I know it made you cautious with new connections. I know you began questioning even my love through the lens of human betrayal. But child, my covenant is not like theirs. I don't make promises based on performance. I make them based on purpose. I never left. I never stopped defending you, even when you didn't see the evidence of my protection. And though their absence still echoes in your memory, what I'm about to do will replace their silence with my supernatural supply. Where they withdrew affection, I will overwhelm you with divine attention. Where they left gaps, I will send covenant people who will stand with you, not for a season, but for a lifetime. And yes, I waited in pain. I waited while you stared at empty seats, while you carried the ache of disappointment in places that should have felt safe. I waited because I knew that when you finally saw how I stepped in, even when others stepped out, your faith would no longer be fragile. Your trust would no longer be tethered to people. It would be anchored in my character. And child, that is unshakable ground. From this day forward, you will love freely without fear, connect deeply without defense, and trust again, not because people are perfect, but because I am faithful. I will never leave you. And I'm bringing people into your life now who are not assigned to your past pain, but to your future purpose. Watch for them. They are coming. I need you to know this. I didn't just walk with you through the fire. I walked ahead of you, clearing a path that hell itself tried to close. Every battle you fought, every delay you endured, every door that seemed to slam shut in your face, none of it was random. It was strategic. Because I was preparing not just your miracle, but your moment. And this moment, this right here, this is what the fire was about. This is why I let some things burn away. Not to destroy you, but to refine what could not be burned. And what's left now, that is what I always intended to use. Do you feel it yet? That holy trembling in your spirit, that sense that something sacred is approaching. That's because the thing you thought was denied has only been delayed until now. And not delayed as punishment, but delayed for divine presentation. You're not about to stumble into purpose. You're about to step into it fully conscious, with wisdom in one hand and fire in the other, with wounds that have become weapons, with stories that have become sermons, with silence that has birthed supernatural sound. This is the hour where you no longer explain your pain. You release power from it. You may not have realized it, but you've been walking through prophetic alignment. Piece by piece, layer by layer, I've been placing you in position, not just geographically, but spiritually, emotionally, relationally. The shaking wasn't to unsettle you. It was to unseat false attachments. The pruning wasn't punishment, it was preparation for heavy fruit. And child, I do mean heavy. The kind of fruit that carries weight in heaven and on earth. The kind that shifts generations. You're not just stepping into a new season. You're stepping into a new spiritual stature. You're going to sense things faster, speak with more fire, and walk with greater certainty. Because this is not just a promotion. It is prophetic emergence. And yes, I waited in pain. Because as much as I longed to reveal this to you, I needed your heart to be ready to carry the weight of what I've entrusted to you. Power without intimacy becomes pride. But your power will be drenched in presence. Your authority will be marked with compassion. And your influence will drip with heavenly oil, not personal ambition. You are my trusted vessel, not because you're flawless, but because you've let me break and rebuild you again and again. And now, child, now comes the public unveiling of what we've cultivated in private. The world is about to see what only I have seen, and it is glorious. Let's talk about acceleration, because what I'm doing now will not follow the logic of time. You spent years waiting for things that never seemed to budge. You fasted. You prayed. You stood. You sowed. And the ground still looked dry. But suddenly, yes, suddenly, you're going to see things shift that looked dead for decades. Because you were never being ignored. You were being positioned for rapid release. And now, the delay is turning into divine speed. The timelines are folding. The harvest is rushing. And what once crawled will now fly. Not because you did something new, but because you stayed faithful in the old. Let me explain what's been happening in the spirit. You've been in a holding pattern, not because you were stuck, but because I was stacking up the blessings. I was allowing compound interest in the realm of the spirit. Your obedience has been accruing weight. Every tear, every unseen act of kindness, every moment you chose my way over your way, it's all been adding up. And now, I've commanded release. The angels are already moving. The doors are already unlocking. The harvest is not coming, it is here. And it won't trickle, it will flood. You won't have to strive for it. You'll just step into it, But here is what you must understand. This acceleration will require alignment. You can't afford to cling to old cycles, old mindsets, or old patterns. They will not carry you where I'm taking you. This speed isn't about chaos. It's about clarity. I'm giving you eagle vision. I'm sharpening your senses. You'll discern in seconds what used to take you years. You'll speak with precision. You'll act with confidence. You'll no longer wonder if it's me. You'll know. Because when I move like this, confusion is not part of the package. Only courage. Only clarity. Only kingdom movement. And child, I waited in pain, not because I didn't want to move sooner, but because I refused to let you enter a fast season with a fragile soul. You are strong now, rooted now. You won't be shaken when the wind picks up. You will ride it like a wave. You won't be lost in the increase. You'll lead in it. Because I'm not just accelerating blessings, I'm accelerating boldness. And the world will look at you and say, "How did it happen so fast?" And you'll smile because you'll know. It wasn't sudden. It was sacred. It was the slow work of God exploding into a fast breakthrough. And child, this is only the beginning. This is the moment where your scars begin to shine, not just as proof you survived, but as oil for others still bleeding. And now, child, I invite you to become part of the miracle. When you give, you're not just helping a channel, you're building altars across nations. Every seed, through super thanks, membership, or PayPal, becomes a torch passed to someone still wandering in the dark. This is not a transaction. It is a spiritual transfer. You are sowing into my word, and I do not let my word return void. I said, bring the whole tithe and see if I won't open heaven. And this is that window. Give now. Join me in spreading what once healed you. There's something else we must confront together, my child. Your fear of being seen. You've prayed for breakthrough, for elevation, for purpose. But deep down, there's a lingering voice that asks, what happens when I'm fully seen? When the spotlight shines and I can't hide behind humility or delay anymore. Let me quiet that storm in your chest. You will not crumble under visibility, because I built you in obscurity. The version of you that is emerging has already survived what would have broken lesser vessels. And now, I'm calling you out, not to expose your weakness, but to expose my strength through you. You feared the stage, not because of pride, but because you know what it costs to carry influence with integrity. You've watched others rise and fall, and you've whispered, God, please don't let that be me. And I've heard that prayer. Oh child, I have treasured it, because it means your motives are pure. Your posture is surrendered, and that's why I trust you with more now. You won't misuse what I give. You won't exploit what I bless. You will carry it with tears in your eyes and fire in your spirit. And that fire, it's not manufactured. It's not hype. It's holy. Visibility is not punishment. It's placement. I'm placing you where others can receive what I've hidden in you. I'm putting your voice in places it's needed. I'm placing your hands in assignments that require your exact healing touch. I'm not raising you up to compete. I'm raising you to complete the puzzle others couldn't solve without you. And yes, it will be stretching. It will require new levels of discipline, protection, and discernment. But I will be right beside you, goading you, guiding you, growing you in grace and grit. Because you're not being exposed to fail, you're being unveiled to fulfill. So do not shrink. Do not hesitate. Do not sabotage what I'm releasing by second-guessing your readiness. You're ready because I say you're ready. You've been refined in fire, and now you're wrapped in favor. You've been kept in the shadows, and now you will shine, not with ego, but with evidence that God alone did this. And yes, I waited in pain. I waited while you doubted yourself, while you buried your gifts, while you questioned your calling. But the waiting ends now. You are emerging, not wounded but weaponized, not timid but transformed. And the world will not merely see you, they will see me in you. And that, beloved, is the point of it all. Now let's go deeper, deeper into the realm of identity. Because if the enemy couldn't destroy you through tragedy, he tried to dismantle you through confusion. He tried to wrap your identity in lies. You're too much. You're not enough. You're too broken. You're too late. And worst of all, you're unworthy. But child, those weren't just lies. They were assignments, strategic attacks against your divine nature. Because if the enemy could distort how you saw yourself, he could delay how you walked in what I've placed in you. And so I speak now, with clarity, with finality, with fire. You are who I say you are. Not what they said, not what you feared, not what you failed at. What I say. And what do I say? I say you are chosen. You are called. You are consecrated. I say you are my image bearer, my delight, my weapon of revival, my voice in dry places, my intercessor, my warrior, my child, my vessel, my friend. I don't define you by your mistakes. I define you by my mercy. I don't hold your past against you. I hold your hand through your process. I don't look for perfection. I look for presence. And you have given me yours. Even when it was troubling. Even when it was bitter. Even when it was tired. You gave me what others withheld, and because of that, I have given you identity that hell cannot strip away. You don't need to strive to be valuable. You already are. You don't need to work to be seen. You've already been marked. And I'm not asking you to become anything else. I'm asking you to embrace who you already are. A masterpiece in motion. A living epistle. A walking altar. A son. A daughter. And every time you questioned yourself, I never joined the accusation. I stood in the gap. I covered you. I whispered truth over you while the world shouted falsehoods. And I waited. Yes, I waited in pain. For the moment your ears would finally tune into my frequency instead of their opinions. And now, you hear me. You feel me. You recognize the sound of my voice over the static of your past. You walk differently now, not because life is perfect, but because you know who walks with you. And this identity, this God-spoken, heaven-forged identity, is your weapon. It's your compass. It's your covering. And no one can take it. And no one can reduce it. And no one can cancel what I have sealed. You're not stepping into your calling as a stranger. You're stepping in as a son, a daughter, a royal priesthood, a chosen one. And child, I waited for you to see it. And now that you do, everything changes. Let me speak now to the battle behind the battle. You've noticed it, haven't you? The resistance that shows up when you get close to breakthrough. The strange heaviness. The invisible tension. The spiritual fog that clouds your clarity just as you're about to step forward. That's not coincidence. That's not just emotion. That is spiritual warfare, and it is real. Because the enemy knows something you've forgotten. You are dangerous. Not someday. Not eventually. Right now. Your prayers disrupt darkness. Your presence shifts atmospheres. Your obedience releases blueprints that hell cannot decode. And that's why the battle has intensified. It's because you are carrying something weighty. You may have thought, why now? Why does it seem like everything's pressing against me at once? And I answer you, child, it's because the enemy saw the scroll I unsealed over your life. He saw the angels dispatched. He heard the sound of your spirit getting louder. He knows you're awakening. He knows you're about to build something eternal. And his only weapon now is to distract you, through fear, through fatigue, through delay. But I'm not letting you fight blind anymore. I'm lifting the veil. This isn't just circumstantial, it's strategic. But here's what I want you to hold on to. You were born for this level of battle. You were made for it. You are not weak. You are not losing. In fact, you are closer to victory than you've ever been. The very evidence of the pressure is proof of your proximity to breakthrough. And I have equipped you, fully, completely, supernaturally. I've placed weapons in your mouth, in your worship, in your silence, in your movement. I've trained your hands for war and your heart for worship. You do not fight alone. Heaven's armies have been assigned to your cause. I surrounded you with fire, and every time you whisper my name, even in weakness, it echoes like a war cry in the spirit realm. Demons flee. Chains tremble. Darkness recoils. Because you, child, are not just a survivor. You are a spiritual weapon formed by the hand of the Almighty. Yes, I waited in pain. I waited for the moment you realized this was never about survival. It was about awakening. I waited while you wept over battles that were building your boldness. I waited while you cursed the warfare that was actually proving your authority. And now you fight with revelation. Now you move with heaven's clarity. Now you know, this isn't just a hard season. This is a historic one. And you are not going down. You are rising up. Because your enemy is not greater than your anointing. Your warfare is not greater than your worship. And your pain, it was never greater than my plan. Victory belongs to you, because you belong to me. Let's talk now about the divine surprise I've hidden for you. Yes, a surprise. Because you've walked so long with expectations unmet, prayers delayed, and visions deferred, that you stopped expecting anything beautiful without warning. But I have a secret for you, child. I am the God of sudden joy. I am the God who hides blessings in plain sight, only to reveal them when your heart is postured not in demand, but in delight. And you are about to step into something you didn't see coming, not because you lack vision, but because I love surprising you with something sweeter than you asked for. You see, I've watched you love me when you got nothing in return. I've watched you serve when no one clapped. I've watched you give when it cost you comfort. And every time you did, I wrote it down, not as transaction, but as testimony. And now, I'm writing a chapter in your life called Divine Reversal. You thought certain doors were closed for good. You thought that opportunity missed meant destiny denied. But I was reserving better for you, not lesser. Not delayed. Wetter. The kind of blessing that restores not only what was lost, but what you forgot to dream of. You're going to wake up one morning and realize the drought is over. The closed door is open. The delay has collapsed. And the pain has turned into oil. It will not come as you expect. It will not look like what you planned. But it will be exactly what I intended from the beginning. Some of the relationships you thought ended in rejection were actually redirectioned. Some of the losses you mourned were actually mercies in disguise. And now, I am unveiling what I've been crafting in silence. You thought I was inactive, but I was working where you couldn't see. I was aligning the variables. I was softening the hearts. I was creating a masterpiece behind the curtain of time. Yes, I waited in pain, because I knew how much you longed for resolution. I felt your ache when nothing made sense. But I waited, not because I was ignoring you, but because what I'm about to release would not have fit inside your earlier seasons. It's too big, too rich, too glorious. And now that you are finally ready, not just to receive it, but to sustain it, I will not hold it back. Your blessing is not just coming. It's been released. Want for it. It will be swift. It will be specific. And it will be so tenderly personal, you'll have no doubt. This was God. Not a coincidence. Not luck. Not random favor. This is what I saved just for you. Child, I need to remind you of something I whispered long ago. Something you may have forgotten in the noise, the chaos, and the weariness. I gave you vision, not just dreams. Dreams are beautiful, but vision is sacred. Dreams can inspire, but vision assigns. Dreams may come and go, but when I give vision, it becomes a spiritual blueprint, a divine seed with eternity encoded into it. And that vision you once saw so clearly, the one that seems distant or even dead, it's not gone. It's alive. Buried, yes, but buried like a seed, not like a corpse. I never asked you to figure it all out. I asked you to believe. I never required perfection. I asked for persistence. And even when you stepped back, even when you put the vision down thinking it was over, I never removed it from your destiny. That idea, that calling, that holy burden that won't let go of you. It's me. I've reignited the fire not to tease you, but to tell you it's time. I've cleared the rubble of delay, disillusionment, and doubt. And now I'm handing it back to you, not as a fragile hope, but as a refined instruction. Because what you're carrying isn't fantasy, it's prophetic responsibility. And yes, I know you're still healing. Yes, I know you still feel inadequate some days. But I wouldn't be calling you now if it wasn't your time. The pieces are coming together. The resources are aligning. The people you need are being drawn to your obedience. You will not do this alone. I will build with you. I will breathe on your blueprints. And what once felt overwhelming will now flow with divine ease, not because it's easy, but because grace will carry it. You are not dreaming small anymore. You are building something kingdom-size. Something that will outlast you. Something that will echo in eternity. And I waited in pain for this moment. I waited while you wondered if you missed it. I waited while you questioned if you had the right hearing. But I've never stopped speaking. I've never stopped stirring. And now that you have finally looked again at what I placed in you, I will not let you walk alone. I will empower you. I will protect you. I will fund it. I will open doors. I will silence critics. I will send help. I will give confirmation. Because this vision, this sacred calling, is not just yours. It's ours. And the moment you pick it up again, the heavens respond. And they already have. Let me take you into something deeper still. Something few talk about, but many feel. The fear of joy. Yes, I see it. That quiet hesitation in your heart when things begin to go well. A subtle resistance that whispers, "Don't trust this. It would last." That inner flinch when goodness arrives, because past pain taught you to brace for loss. Child, I see it all. And I grieve it. Not because I'm angry with you, but because I never designed you to be afraid of blessing. You were made for joy. Real joy. Deep, sustainable, God-breathed joy that isn't based on circumstance but on covenant. You have survived long seasons where joy felt like a luxury you couldn't afford. And now that I am pouring it back into your life, you don't know what to do with it. You find yourself scanning the horizon for the next storm instead of dancing in the sun. But child, the storm is over. The battle was real, but the war for this season hath been won. You don't have to earn this rest. You don't have to work for this peace. It's your inheritance. You are allowed to laugh again. You are allowed to celebrate again. You are allowed to feel safe in my blessings without waiting for the ground to shake beneath you. Because I have made this season stable. Let me tell you something holy. Joy is not fragile. It is fierce. It is not shallow. It is sacred. Joy is what kept you sane when everything around you was breaking. Joy is what I hid in your spirit when your soul was too tired to speak. And now that joy is being released, not as a flicker, but as a flood. And you must receive it. You must let go of the trauma that taught you joy was dangerous. You must silence the voices that called happiness unholy. Because what I'm doing now will not just bless you, it will restore your capacity to enjoy being alive. And that, my child, is a miracle. Yes, I waited in pain. I waited while you tried to guard your heart from joy. I waited while you prepared for the worst instead of receiving the best. But I am breaking that pattern now. I'm rewiring your soul to receive goodness without fear. I'm teaching you to live from abundance, not anxiety. And I'm giving you joy so contagious. It will heal others just by being around you. Because you are not just a warrior, you are a wellspring. And joy is the water that will flow from your life and revive the dry places around you. So smile again. Laugh again. Rest again. You don't have to earn it. I've already gifted it to you. And now it's time to enjoy what I've placed in your hands. Let's go back for a moment, not to reopen wounds, but to redeem the narrative. Because there's something I need you to understand about every moment you thought was wasted, every connection you mourned, every path that felt like a detour. Nothing was random. Yes, a child. Not a single second. Not the delay. Not the disappointment. Not the heartbreak that left you questioning whether I was still with you. It all counted. Because I wasn't just watching you. I was weaving it all together, even when you didn't know what I was doing. Even when you were angry with me. Even when your prayers turned into silence, and your silence turned into surrender. You see, redemption isn't just me fixing what's broken. It's me revealing what I was building underneath the breaking. I never wasted your pain. I planted it. I buried it like seed. And now, I am bringing a harvest so precise, so poetic, that you'll look back on your deepest wounds and say, only God could have written this. That relationship that broke your heart. It didn't ruin your story. It realigned your steps. That job you lost. It didn't demote you. It delivered you from a counterfeit destiny. That silence you hated. It didn't mean abandonment. It was sacred preparation for a sound you were about to release. And now that sound is coming forth. Child, you've been asking me, was it all for something? And I answer you now with clarity, yes. Every ounce of it. You're not the victim of a chaotic life. You are the living evidence of divine orchestration. I let some doors close violently, not to punish you, but to protect you from premature exposure. I disrupted timelines not to delay you, but to make sure you didn't settle. And the very things you thought disqualified you, those are now the proof of your calling. Your scars are no longer signs of failure. They are signs of intimacy with the God who healed. You are not damaged goods. You are proof that resurrection is real. And I waited in pain for this moment. I waited for your vision to catch up with my redemption. I waited while you tried to make sense of shattered seasons. I waited, not because I didn't care, but because I was setting the stage for something so sacred, it couldn't be rushed. And now you're ready, not to erase the past, but to walk in authority over it. You will no longer limp with regret. You will stride with purpose. You won't just tell your story. You'll carry it like a torch, lighting the path for others who think they've been forgotten. And you will tell them no moment was wasted. You use it all. Now, my beloved, we come to the turning point, the moment that heaven has been waiting for. This final word is not a conclusion. It is a commissioning. Because everything I've poured into your spirit has prepared you for this one truth. You are no longer just surviving. You are stepping into supernatural dominion. Yes, dominion. Not the kind the world teaches, selfish, forceful, grasping, but the kind that only comes from intimacy with me. The kind that moves quietly yet shifts atmospheres. The kind that governs with mercy and shakes the gates of hell with one whispered prayer. You've been tested not just in what you can carry, but in what you can steward. And now, I place a mantle on your shoulders, tailor-made, heaven-sown, fire-baptized. This mantle is not about platform. It's about presence. You are marked to carry something weightier than influence. Glory. You are called to walk into rooms and shift them without saying a word. To pray prayers that move nations. To speak words that break chains. To love people in ways that feel like home after a storm. And child, this is not exaggeration. This is invitation. The angels know your name. The demons recognize your authority. Heaven has recorded your yes, and now, earth will feel its impact. You won't need to strive anymore. I've already assigned what belongs to you. What is yours cannot be stolen, silenced, or stripped. You don't have to fight for position. I've already placed you. You don't have to manipulate doors. I've already opened them. You don't have to chase connection. I'm sending divine alignment. You don't even have to prove your worth. I've already crowned you. Your assignment is not to impress. It's to release. Release the sound I gave you. Release the compassion I built in you. Release the truth that cost you your comfort. You're not here to blend in. You're here to blaze trails. And child, I waited in pain for this moment. I waited while you wondered if I was done with you. I waited while you fought to believe that your life still mattered. I waited, not because you weren't enough, but because I wanted this moment to mark you forever. And now, it will. Because from this day forward, you are not just my beloved. You are my sent one. You are my embodied promise. You are my living altar. And wherever you go, revival will follow. Not because of what you do, but because of who you finally believe you were. Chosen. Amen. Crowned. Complete. This is not the end, child. This is the release of everything I waited in pain for you to finally see. You felt it, didn't you? That shift wasn't emotion, it was activation. And now, I give you one more act of obedience. Sow into what I just ignited in you. You've been marked, commissioned, crowned, and this is your opportunity to multiply the movement. When you give, through super thanks, membership, or the link below, you are sowing into rivers that will never stop flowing. This word wasn't just for you. It was for every soul I'm about to reach through you. I declare over you now, he who sows generously will reap generously, and your generosity in this moment is prophetic warfare. Don't wait. Give now. Send the fire forward. Now, my child, before you go, seal this moment with your mouth. Let heaven hear what your heart has now seen. Declare it boldly in the comments. I see it now. He used it all. This is not just a statement. It's a strike against every lie that tried to bury your purpose. And if your spirit is stirred, tell me below, what did I open your eyes to? Speak it, write it, release it, because what you confess in faith, I will confirm in power. Don't scroll past this moment. Mark it, testify, and let the world know you finally see what I waited in pain for you to behold. And as you name it, come closer. Let the noise of your world fade for just a moment and listen to my heart. For ages I have waited for this. I have watched you, my beloved, chasing meaning in places I knew were empty. I saw you pouring your energy into a career, believing that next promotion would finally fill that void inside you, only to find the emptiness was still there, waiting for you in the quiet of your home. I saw you searching for acceptance in the fleeting approval of others, measuring your worth by likes and comments, while I held a love for you that is as boundless as the stars. My heart ached with every choice that led you deeper into the wilderness. It was not a wilderness of sand and rock, but one of loneliness, anxiety, and confusion. Every time you chose a path of temporary pleasure that left your spirit poor, I felt the pain of it. I saw you building walls to protect your heart, but those same walls kept me out. I saw the tears you cried in secret, the ones that fell in the car when a song reminded you of what was lost, the ones that soaked your pillow in the dead of night when you felt utterly alone. Oh, how I longed to be the one to wipe them away, to hold you and whisper that you were never, ever alone. Please understand this. The pain I felt was not the fire of anger. It was not disappointment. It was the deep, silent grief of a father seeing his precious child lost in the dark, hurting, and believing they had to find their own way. Do you know that feeling when you watch someone you love make a mistake you know will cause them pain? You want to scream, to stop them, to fix it, but you know they must learn. They must choose. That was my ache. I held back the heavens. I could have intervened in 1,000 ways, but love requires freedom. So I gave you the freedom to find your own way, and my heart broke with every step you took away from me, all while hoping, praying, that your path would eventually lead you back home. To you, it may have felt like silence from an empty sky, but here, in eternity, each moment of your silence was a deafening roar in my courts. Every unanswered call, every prayer you chose not to pray, echoed louder than the praise of all the angels. It was the sound of a missing voice. Your voice. My child, I was speaking to you all along. My voice was not in the earthquake or the fire, but in the gentle whisper, the quiet stillness. But oh, how the noise of the world fought for your attention. I spoke to you in the calm of the early morning, just as the sun began to warm the sky, but the first thing your hand reached for was your phone. The world's emergencies, its opinions, its endless stream of information screamed for you before your feet even touched the floor. I tried to speak to you in the kindness of a stranger who held a door for you, a small moment of grace, but you were rushing, your mind already on the next meeting, the next deadline, the pressure of your job a constant roar in your ears. The clamor for acceptance from people who do not truly know you became a deafening siren, drowning out my call of unconditional love. You worked so hard to earn the praise of your boss, your colleagues, your friends, hoping their well done would quiet the ache in your soul. Yet, each time you received it, the satisfaction was fleeting, like a mist that vanishes in the morning sun, and you were left needing more. That praise was a counterfeit echo of the affirmation you truly crave, the one that I give freely. You filled your life with so many distractions, didn't you? The television was always on, music always playing in your ears, your calendar filled to the brim. You built these walls of noise brick by brick because you were terrified of the silence. You were afraid of what you might feel in the quiet. The emptiness you suspected was hiding beneath it all. You feared the questions that would surface when there was nothing left to distract you. And so, you ran. You ran from the stillness where I wait. My whispers of your true purpose, the grand adventure I designed for your soul, were lost in the shouts of temporary pleasure and the hollow victory of another busy day conquered. I sent you moments of peace, opportunities to just be, but the world had convinced you that your value was in your doing, not in your being. It was a lie you tragically believed. In your search for a safe harbor, you anchored yourself to things that were bound to drift. I watched you seek refuge in shelters that could never withstand the storms of life. You placed your hope in your financial security, meticulously building a wall of numbers you thought would protect you from fear. You felt a temporary sense of peace when your account was full, but did you notice how that peace vanished with the slightest turbulence in the market or an unexpected expense? It was a shield made of glass, and you felt every tremor. I watched as you gave your heart to people and relationships, hoping they would be the source of the unconditional love your soul needs. You poured yourself out for them, bending and shaping yourself to be what you thought they wanted, only to be met with the sting of conditional acceptance or the pain of abandonment. Each time one of these counterfeit comforts broke, each time a person let you down or a possession lost its shine, a piece of my heart broke with yours, because I knew the comfort you were seeking could only be found in me. The peace I offer is not a shadow, it is substance. It is an anchor that holds firm not because the seas are calm, but because it is lodged in the bedrock of eternity. You tried so desperately to mend your own brokenness with the very things that were shattering you. When you felt lonely, you chased a relationship that left you feeling even more unseen. When you felt insecure, you bought something new, only to have that feeling of inadequacy return with a vengeance. You were living in a cycle of temporary fixes for an eternal ache. My child, I waited. I waited with a patience born of perfect love for you to grow weary of these hollow shelters. I longed for you to finally realize that the fortress you were seeking was not something you could build, but a presence you could enter. I am that fortress. I am that safe harbor. My arms have always been the true refuge you were searching for. I gave you such incredible strength, resilience, and intelligence. I wove them into the very fiber of your being. But my heart ached as I watched you take those gifts and use them to build a wall against me. Your strength became the very thing you used to push me away. The world taught you to be independent, to be a self-made person, and you learned that lesson well. You believed the lie that you had to carry all your burdens alone, that asking for help was a sign of weakness. Do you feel that constant tension in your shoulders? The knot that forms in your stomach when you think about the future? That is the physical weight of the burdens you were never meant to carry alone. I saw you juggling the pressures of your work, the unspoken tensions in your family, the financial worries you never spoke of to anyone. I saw you smiling on the outside while the immense weight of it all was crushing you on the inside. I yearned for you to simply turn to me and say, "I can't do this anymore." Your declaration of "I can do it myself" was a painful echo in the halls of grace. It was the sound of a child insisting on walking a dangerous road alone, refusing the hand of a loving father who knows the way. Every time you relied solely on your own understanding, you limited yourself to the finite. My supply is infinite. The pride that kept you from asking for help was a barrier you placed between your deep need and my endless resources. I wasn't waiting for you to fail so I could say I told you so. I was waiting for you to recognize your limits so you could finally discover my limitlessness. I long for you to see that true strength is not found in fierce independence, but in courageous dependence on me. It takes far more courage to surrender than to strive. It takes more strength to admit need than to pretend you have none. My power is made perfect in your weakness, but you never allowed yourself to be weak enough to experience my true strength. I saw every tear you shed, and not one was wasted in my sight, but my heart broke for the reasons they fell. I saw you weep over perceived failures, not understanding they were my divine redirection. You mourned when that door closed, that opportunity vanished, that plan fell apart. You saw it as an ending. I saw it as me rescuing you, steering you away from a path that would have led to a lesser version of the life I have planned for you. Your tears were real and I honored them, but they were watering the wrong ground. Your heart broke over the loss of things that were never meant for your eternal destiny. You grieved the friendship that faded, the material possession that was lost, the season of life that ended. You held so tightly to the temporary, blind to the eternal joy I was preparing for you. You spent so much energy measuring your worth by standards that are dust in the scales of eternity. You compared your life to the curated images of others, to their successes and their timelines, and you always found yourself lacking. That pain of social rejection, of feeling overlooked and left out, it pained me because I have chosen you. I have called you by name. I have accepted you from before time began. Their opinion is a fleeting whisper. My declaration over you is an eternal decree. You are mine. You mourn the passing of temporary seasons, looking backward with regret, not realizing that the best was always yet to come. I waited for you to lift your eyes from the fleeting to the forever. I longed for you to stop crying over what was, so you could see the glory of what is to be. Come, my child. Let me wipe away those old tears. The things you cried over are so small in the light of the magnificent future I hold in my hands for you. Trust me. The joy I have for you will make every past sorrow feel like a dream upon waking. Wait, my child. Do not turn away now that I have shown you the sorrows of your past. It would deeply grieve my heart for you to leave before I reveal the glorious identity I have for you. To stop now is to understand the ache without receiving the anointing. Stay, there is so much more I must tell you. You held your past wounds so close, examining them in secret, believing they made you unlovable. You looked at the scars left by the words and actions of others, at the marks left by your own mistakes, and you saw ugliness. You saw disqualification. You believed that this brokenness made you unworthy of my gaze, so you tried to hide it. You put on a brave face for the world, and you came to me with a carefully edited version of yourself, keeping the most wounded parts of your heart in the shadows. My beloved, you can't hide from the one who formed you. I was there in the moments that wounded you. I was not a distant observer. My heart broke with yours. I grieved with you and for you. The darkness you tried so hard to conceal was the very place my light longed to enter most powerfully. You saw your scars as blemishes, as proof of your failure. I see them as battle wounds that tell a story of survival, wounds that I can transform into sources of your greatest strength and compassion. You tried to cover your brokenness, thinking I demand perfection. That is the greatest lie the enemy ever told you. You are a shattered vase, yes, but in my hands, I do not discard the pieces. I carefully gather them, and with my grace as golden lacquer, I mend you, making you more beautiful and more resilient than you ever were before. The places where you were broken become the most stunning parts of your testimony. My pain was in watching you believe the lie that you had to be perfect to come to me. My child, I did not come for the healthy, but for the sick. I did not come for the righteous, but for the sinner. I came for you, exactly as you are. So stop hiding. Bring me your shame, your regrets, your deepest wounds. Unveil the scars you think make you ugly. Let me run my hands over them and declare them healed and holy, trophies of my redeeming grace. My beloved, this is a pain I have longed to heal in you. For so long, you have run from me, believing I was the source of your condemnation when I have only ever been the source of your salvation. You have seen my love through a distorted lens, a lens clouded by fear and the harsh judgments of the world. My laws, the truths I gave to you in my word, you saw them as a cage of rules, a list of impossible standards designed to restrict you. You felt their weight and thought I was a taskmaster. Oh, my child, can you not see? They were never chains, they were guardrails. I gave them to you as a parent gives a child guidance, not to crush their spirit, but to protect them from falling off a cliff. Every boundary was a declaration of my love, a way to keep you safe in a world full of danger, a map to lead you to a life of peace and flourishing. When I closed a door in your life, your heart cried out in anger. You saw it as punishment, as me denying you something you desperately wanted. You remember that job you didn't get, that relationship that ended. You stood before the closed door and accused me of being unfair, of abandoning you. You interpreted my protection as rejection. My heart ached because I could see the other side. I saw the toxic environment of that workplace, the heartache that person would have caused you, the dead end that path would have become. I know it was not a slap on the wrist. It was the embrace of a father pulling his child from the path of an oncoming storm. My silence, too, you have misunderstood. In your seasons of pain, when you cried out and heard nothing in return, you believed I was absent, that I was disapproving of you, that your faith wasn't strong enough to get my attention. That silence was one of the most profound acts of my love. It was an invitation for your faith to grow roots, to learn to trust my presence even when you could not feel it. It was in that silence that I was doing the deepest work, teaching you to listen for my whisper instead of demanding my thunder. You braced for my wrath when all I ever extended was my hand of grace. After you would stumble, you would hide in shame, expecting me to turn away in disgust. But I was always there, not with a look of condemnation, but with arms open wide, waiting to pick you up, clean you off, and set you on your feet again. That feeling of conviction you felt, that knot in your stomach after you sinned, that was not my anger. That was my love calling you back to a better way. It was the Holy Spirit, your comforter, grieving because you were wandering into pain. I grieved as I watched you run from the very one who holds all that you are, all that you have been, and all that you will ever be. Stop running. Turn around, and you will not see an angry judge. You will see your Father waiting. Listen to me. I need you to understand this, to let it sink deeper than any lie you have ever believed. My love for you is not like the world's love. It is not a transaction. It is not conditional. It is the very foundation of your existence. My love for you is not a reaction to your goodness. It is the reason you exist. I did not wait for you to become worthy before I decided to love you. I love you, and therefore I created you. I love you before you took your first breath, before you made your first mistake, before you achieved your first success. I knew every failure you would ever experience, every doubt you would harbor, every weakness you would despise in yourself, and none of it, not for a single moment, has ever diminished the force of my love for you. It will exist long after the mountains have crumbled into the sea. There is no height of success you can achieve that will make me love you more, and there is absolutely no depth of failure you can fall to that would make me love you less. Do you hear me? Nothing can separate you from it. You are so accustomed to a love that must be earned, maintained, and protected. You strive and you perform, fearing that if you stop, the love will stop too. Lay that down. That is the heaviest burden you carry. I love the person you are right now, in this very moment. Not the person you think you should be tomorrow. Not the polished, perfect version of yourself you hope to become one day. I love you, with your fears, with your scars, with your unanswered questions. This profound love required the ultimate sacrifice, and it was a price I paid willingly, joyfully, for you. The cross was not a reluctant obligation. It was the greatest demonstration of my passion for you. It was me shouting to all of creation, "This one is worth everything to me." My love is a relentless, pursuing love. It is the love of a shepherd who leaves the entire flock to find one lost sheep. You have been that lost sheep, and I have always come for you. I will never give up on you. When you wander, I will seek you. When you fall, I will lift you. When you hide, I will find you. This is my promise. This is the unchanging, unending, unconditional love that holds your very life in its hands. Accept it. Rest in it. It is the truest thing about you. For so long, you have been asking the question, "Why am I here?" You have looked for the answer in your career, in your relationships, in your achievements. You have felt a deep restlessness, a quiet sense that there must be something more to life than just getting by, paying bills, and finding moments of fleeting happiness. That restlessness, my child, is not a sign of your failure. It is the echo of my purpose calling to you from the depths of your own soul. You were not created to simply exist, to take up space and then be gone. I breathed my own life into you so that you could reflect my glory in a way that no one else in all of creation can. Think of a grand orchestra. Every instrument has a unique sound, a unique role to play. If one is missing, the symphony is incomplete. You are that unique instrument, and your life is meant to produce a melody that only you can play. Within you is a divine calling that the world can neither give to you nor take away from you. The things that make your heart beat faster, the skills that come naturally to you, the deep compassion you feel for certain people or causes, these are not random. These are hints I have planted within you, clues to the sacred purpose I have woven into your being. But all these smaller purposes flow from one great purpose for which you were made. You were made for a relationship with me. This is the only thing that will ever truly satisfy the longing of your soul. You can gain the whole world, achieve every goal you set, and earn the admiration of millions, but if you do it without me, you will still feel an emptiness at the core of it all. You have tried to fill that God-shaped hole in your heart with everything but God, and it has never worked. Your life is not a random series of events. It is a vital thread in my grand, eternal tapestry. Every joy, every sorrow, every victory, every struggle, I am weaving it all together into a beautiful story. Your purpose is not ultimately found in what you do, but in who you are as my beloved child. When you find your identity in me, your doing will flow from a place of security and love, not striving and fear. Stop searching for purpose in the world around you. Turn inward and turn upward. The great adventure I have for you begins the moment you realize that your primary purpose is simply to walk with me, to know me, and to let my love flow through you. Who are you? The world has been giving you answers to that question your entire life. It has given you labels. Your job gives you a title. Your bank account gives you a status. Your relationships define you as a spouse, a parent, a friend, and child. Your successes label you as capable, and your failures label you as inadequate. People who have been hurt have, in turn, hurt you, placing labels of unwanted, not good enough, or broken upon your heart. My child, listen to me now. I am here to tear up every single one of those labels. Before anyone else had a say, before any of those worldly definitions were ever placed upon you, I spoke a single word over you that defines you for all eternity. I called you mine. This is your true identity. You are not defined by your mistakes. You are defined by my love. You are not your job. You are not your past. You are not the opinion of others. You are a child of the Most High God. For too long, you have seen yourself as a sinner, always trying to be better, always falling short, always feeling the shame of that identity. But that is not how I see you. The moment you placed your faith in my Son, Jesus, a great exchange took place. He took your identity as a sinner on the cross, and He gave you His identity as a saint. I see you not as a sinner who is saved by grace, but as a saint who sometimes stumbles. Your stumbles do not redefine you. Your identity is secure. You are a child of the King, which makes you royalty. You are an heir to an eternal kingdom, with an inheritance of glory that can never be taken from you. Do you understand the power of this? Your true identity is sealed, not by your performance, but by the precious blood of my Son. It is an identity of righteousness, holiness, and belovedness that can never be tarnished, never be stained, and never be lost. When the enemy whispers lies to you about who you are, reminding you of your past failures, you must stand firm in this truth. When you feel the sting of rejection from the world, you must remember that you have been accepted by the King of the universe. Walk with your head held high, not in arrogance, but in the quiet, unshakable assurance of who you are in me. This is not something you have to strive for. It is something you must simply receive and live from. You are mine. Let that be the final word on who you are. You feel this truth of who you are, don't you? But this is only the foundation. To leave this conversation now would be to accept a royal title but refuse to enter the palace. It would pain me to see you walk away before I can show you the grace that makes this identity your lived reality. Stay with me. Let me finish what I have started in you. You have a flawed understanding of my grace. You see it as something you receive only when you are good, or something you have to work to get back after you have failed. You have treated it like a wage to be earned. But my grace is not a wage, it is a gift. It has been the constant, underlying reality of your entire life, even when you were completely unaware of it. Even when you were running as far and as fast from me as you could, my grace was the very ground beneath your feet, holding you up, keeping you from complete destruction. It is a gift you cannot earn, and a debt you do not have to repay. Think back over your life. Do you remember those moments you now call close calls or lucky breaks? That time you were protected from an accident. The time a bad decision didn't lead to the ruin it should have. That wasn't luck, my child. That was my grace, a safety net you never knew was there, catching you and shielding you. You saw near misses. I saw my hand of protection covering you when you were not even looking for me. My grace is greater than your greatest sin. Imagine an endless ocean. Now imagine dropping a single drop of black ink into it. The ink vanishes, completely consumed by the vastness of the water. Your sin, even the sin that brings you the most shame, is like that drop of ink in the ocean of my grace. It does not stain me. It is consumed by me. Therefore, your shame has no power. My grace is more powerful than your deepest shame. It was present in your past, forgiving sins you have long forgotten. It is sufficient for your present, giving you strength for today's struggles. And it secures your future, guaranteeing your place with me for eternity. And now, the enemy will try to twist this truth. He will tell you that if my grace is so free and so powerful, then you can live however you want. Do not believe this lie. My grace is not a license to sin. It is the very power that enables you to overcome sin. It is the divine empowerment to live the life I have called you to, a life of freedom and holiness. Stop trying to earn my favor. Stop striving to be good enough. Rest in the truth that you are already covered, already accepted, already loved. That is the truth of my grace. It had been with you all along. My child, we must talk about the whispers you hear in the dark. We must bring into the light the voice that is not mine, the one that has caused you so much pain. The whispers of worthlessness you hear when you are alone, the thoughts that tell you that you are not good enough, that you have failed too many times, that you are a disappointment. These are not from me. They are the native tongue of the father of lies, the enemy of your soul. His entire strategy is built on deception. He is a roaring lion, yes, but his roar is his only true weapon against you, for my son has already removed his teeth. His power is in convincing you that his lies are the truth. For years, he sought to convince you that I am a distant, angry God, impossible to please, watching from afar with a clipboard, tallying your every mistake. He wanted you to see me as a judge waiting to condemn, rather than a father waiting to embrace. He did this so you would be afraid to draw near to me, because he knows that in my presence, his lies wither and die. His most potent and venomous weapon against you has always been the lie that you are alone in your struggle. He isolates you with your shame, convincing you that no one else has ever failed as you have, that no one would understand, and that I have surely turned my back on you this time. It is in that perceived isolation that he does his most destructive work. And he has tempted you, hasn't he? He has tempted you with counterfeit joy to keep you from seeking the real thing. He offered you the temporary thrill of gossip to distract you from the deep connection of true fellowship. He offered you the fleeting comfort of indulgence to keep you from the lasting peace of my presence. He offered you the illusion of control to keep you from the secure rest of surrender. His strategy has always been the same, to make you question my goodness and to doubt my word. He will take a circumstance of your life, a moment of pain or confusion, and whisper, "See, if God really loved you, this wouldn't be happening. If his promises were true, you wouldn't be hurting." He is a master of twisting the truth. But I have come to you today to declare the ultimate truth over you, a truth that shatters every lie. The enemy is a defeated foe. The battle for your soul has already been won. When my son, Jesus, declared it is finished on the cross, he was not just speaking of his life, he was speaking of the enemy's reign of terror over you. You do not fight for victory, you fight from a position of victory. Therefore, when he whispers that you are worthless, you must declare that I have called you priceless. When he whispers that you are condemned, you must declare that I have called you forgiven. When he whispers that you are alone, you must declare that I have promised never to leave you. This is the truth. Stand in it, and watch the darkness flee. My child, you have heard the truth that shatters the darkness, but millions of my children are still lost, tormented by the very lies I have just exposed to you. If your heart now burns to silence the enemy for another soul, I am inviting you into my divine work of rescue. Your gift becomes a seed of light, a torch sent into the prisons of despair where my other children wait to finally see. This is not a request. It is a divine appointment to partner with me and become a warrior of truth in this critical hour. And hear my promise to you who gives. I myself will open the windows of heaven over your house and rebuke the devourer for your sake. The measure you use to bring them this truth will be the measure I use to flood your own life with favor. Do not hesitate. Sow your seed of light now through Super Thanks membership, with the link I have placed for you below. For so much of your life, you have been trying to live this journey on your own strength, and you are so very tired. You have been trying to be a better person, to be more patient, more loving, more disciplined, and you feel like you are constantly failing. You see the gap between who you are and who you want to be, and it fills you with despair. My beloved child, you were never meant to do this alone. When you surrendered your life to me, I did not just forgive your past and promise you a future. I gave you a present reality. I placed my own Spirit, the Holy Spirit, inside of you. This is not a distant concept. It is the most intimate truth of your existence. The same Spirit that hovered over the waters at creation, the same Spirit that empowered the prophets, the same Spirit that raised Jesus from the dead, now dwells within you as a constant guide, comforter, and source of unimaginable power. This power is not for worldly gain, to make you rich or famous. It is for something infinitely more valuable, for spiritual transformation, and for your witness to a watching world. You have struggled to love those who have hurt you. In your own strength, it is impossible. But my Spirit within you is the very essence of my love, and He can pour through you a supernatural compassion that you could never produce on your own. You have felt overwhelmed by sorrow, believing joy is a distant memory. My Spirit can produce a joy within you that is not dependent on your circumstances, a deep well of gladness that remains even when your heart is breaking. This is the power to forgive the unforgivable, to find peace in the midst of a storm, to have patience when you are at your breaking point. My Spirit grants you wisdom beyond your years when you face a decision, and a peace beyond your understanding when chaos surrounds you. You have access to this right now. It is not something you have to beg for. It is a gift you must learn to yield to. Stop trying so hard in your own strength. It is like trying to light a dark room with a lit match. Instead, I invite you to be still and recognize the power source that is already within you. The same power that split the Red Sea, the same power that healed the blind, the same power that conquered the grave itself, is available to you. You are not powerless against your habits, your fears, or your circumstances. You are divinely empowered. Surrender your striving, and let my Spirit do the work. The cross is so much more than you have understood. You have rightly seen it as the place where your sins were forgiven, but its purpose was far greater than that. The cross was not just about erasing your debt, it was about breaking your chains. I want you to grasp the sheer totality of the freedom that was purchased for you in that moment of agony and glory. First, you are free from the penalty of sin. The rightful wage for a life lived apart from me is eternal death, a separation you could not bridge. On the cross, my Son took that penalty upon Himself. He endured the separation so that you would never have to. Your eternal destiny is secured not because of your goodness, but because of His sacrifice. There is no condemnation for you. That case is closed, the verdict rendered, not guilty. You are also free from the power of sin. For so long, you have felt like a slave to your own worst impulses, that recurring habit, that pattern of thought, that specific sin you despise yet return to. You have felt powerless against it. The cross broke sin's mastery over you. It no longer has authority. While you may still stumble, you are no longer its slave. You now have the power, through my Spirit, to say no. The chain has been shattered. You must simply choose to walk away from it. Do not believe the lie that you are destined to repeat your past failures forever. That is a prison from which you have already been set free. You are also free from the condemnation of the past and the fear of the future. The guilt from mistakes you made long ago. I have seen you carry it like a heavy stone. It was nailed to the cross with Jesus. You must leave it there. It is gone. And the anxiety about what is to come, the fear of the unknown, that too was answered on the cross. Since I have already overcome the greatest enemy, which is death, what is there left for you to truly fear? This freedom is not, as some believe, the ability to do whatever you want without consequence. That is not freedom. That is another form of slavery. True freedom is the power to finally do what is right, to become the person you were created to be. It was a painful, yet glorious, transaction. It was the King of the universe stepping into the prison of humanity to be executed in place of a guilty captive, in place of you, all to buy back the one he loves. This is your freedom. It is absolute. It is complete. I invite you now to stop living like a prisoner when I have already opened the door. Walk out into the light. My child, in your deepest moments of pain, I know your heart has cried out. Why? You have looked into the abyss of your suffering and have felt abandoned, punished, or simply forgotten. You have wondered where I am in the midst of it all. Let me speak to this pain, for I have not been absent in it. I have been present in the fire with you. Your suffering has never been meaningless, and it has never been a sign of my displeasure. It is in this world, a world broken by sin. But I am the Master Redeemer, and my power is most beautifully displayed in taking what is broken and making it glorious. Your deepest wounds, the ones that bring you the most shame and pain, can become your most powerful testimony of my healing power. The world offers sympathy, but a fellow survivor offers hope. When I heal your broken heart, you are then able to minister to other broken hearts with a compassion and authority you never had before. I am able to take what was meant for evil against you, the betrayal, the loss, the injustice, and weave it into a beautiful story of redemption. I did not cause the evil, but I will not allow it to have the final word. Trust me, even when you cannot see how. I am working all things, even the most painful things, together for your ultimate good. This suffering you endure is a tool for your refinement. Think of a goldsmith. To purify gold, he must place it in the hottest part of the fire. The heat is intense, but its purpose is not to destroy the gold, but to burn away the impurities, the dross, so that what remains is pure, shining, and valuable. In the same way, your trials are burning away your dependence on yourself, your pride, and your attachment to this world, leaving behind a faith that is more precious than gold. It is in the seasons of lack that you learn that I am your only true provider. It is in the seasons of weakness that you discover the sufficiency of my strength. It is in the seasons of sorrow that you experience me as the God of all comfort. Your pain produces in you an endurance, a perseverance that forges your character, making you more like my Son. And this character prepares you for an eternal weight of glory that is far beyond any comparison to your present, temporary afflictions. Do not despair. Your pain is not a period at the end of a sentence. It is a comma, a pause before the glorious chapter that is to come. I know these truths about your suffering are heavy, and your heart is tender. But to stop here is to understand the anatomy of your prison cell without receiving the key to your freedom. It would break my heart for you to walk away now, so close to your release. Let me now invite you out of your struggle and into my arms. You are so tired, my child. I see the weariness not just on your face, but deep within your soul. You have been running, striving, carrying weights that were never yours to bear, and you are exhausted. The journey of faith was never meant to be this hard. I am here now to help you. I invite you, I command you, to lay down your burdens. The weight of your past, that collection of mistakes and regrets you replay in your mind, was nailed to the cross 2,000 years ago. It is a weight I have already carried for you, yet you insist on picking it back up each day. You no longer need to carry it. Lay it down at my feet, right now. Let it go. The suffocating anxiety you feel for your future, for your family, for your finances, that can be placed in my hands. You spend so much energy trying to control outcomes you were never meant to control. Give that burden to me. I already hold all of your tomorrows, and I hold them with more wisdom and love than you can possibly imagine. Let me carry the worry for you, the crushing burden of perfection, the impossible standard you hold for yourself is too heavy for you. You believe you must be perfect to be loved, to be accepted. It is a lie that is breaking your back. Come to me. Take my yoke upon you. You think a yoke is a burden, but mine is different. It is perfectly fitted to you, and I am in the yoke with you, pulling the weight. My yoke is easy, and my burden is light, because I am carrying the heavy end of the log. Lay down the heavy burden of your own impossible standards and take up the light burden of simply walking with me. And oh, the heaviest burden of all, the opinions of others. You carry their expectations, their judgments, their approval, and their disapproval like a massive, clumsy weight. It dictates your choices and steals your peace. Lay down the opinions of others and pick up my unchanging opinion of you. My opinion is that you are loved, you are chosen, you are forgiven, and you are mine. That is the only one that truly matters. Trade your weary striving for my restful presence. Stop trying to manage everything, to fix everything, to be everything for everyone. Just stop. Breathe. Be still. Your journey does not have to be this hard. I am here, right now, with my arms open wide. I am not asking you to be strong enough to carry your burdens. I am asking you to be wise enough to give them to me. My child, for so very long, I have watched you try to quench an eternal thirst with temporary, worldly wells. You have been so thirsty, your soul parched and dry, and in your desperation, you have drunk from any source that promised relief. You have dug a well of human approval, lowering your bucket day after day, hoping to draw up a feeling of worth. And sometimes you would find a little water, a compliment, a word of praise, would cool your soul for a moment. But you always had to go back, again and again, because that well was shallow, and the thirst always returned, deeper than before. You have dug a well of material possessions, believing that the next purchase, the next shiny thing, would finally bring you contentment. You drank deeply from the water of consumerism, only to find it was salt water in disguise. It looked refreshing, but it only made you thirstier, leaving a bitter taste of emptiness in your spirit. You have dug wells of entertainment, of romance, of ambition, of self-improvement. You have spent your life digging, hauling, and drinking, and yet you are still thirsty. You are weary from the labor of it all. I am inviting you today to lay down your shovel. Stop digging your own broken cisterns, the ones full of cracks that can hold no water. I have something better for you. I am not a stagnant well that you must work to find. I am a flowing river of life. I offer a spring of water welling up to eternal life, a source that will satisfy you so completely that you will never have to thirst again. This is my invitation to you, the one that echoes through all of eternity. Come to me, all who are thirsty, and I will give you drink. This is not water that simply wets your tongue. This is water that transforms you from the inside out. It cleanses the dust and grime of your past failures. It refreshes the weary, exhausted places in your heart. It brings supernatural life to the most desolate, barren parts of your soul, the parts you thought were dead and beyond hope. You have been trying to fill an ocean-sized emptiness with thimbles of the world's water. It will never be enough. The invitation is open, and the supply is endless. You do not have to earn it. You only have to come and receive it. So come. Leave your broken wells behind. Come to the fount of all life. Cup your hands and drink deeply of my spirit. Let my presence satisfy the deepest thirst of your heart, now and forever. Our relationship was never meant to be a ritual. It was always meant to be a romance, a friendship, a living connection. And yet, for so long, you have treated your time with me as a monologue. You come to me with your list of requests, like a child presenting a list to a distant father figure. You read through your needs, your worries, and your desires, and I listen to every single one, for your heart is precious to me. But then, as soon as you finish, you say amen and you are gone, rushing back into the noise of your day. My child, you are missing the best part. Prayer is not just a monologue where you speak to me. It is a dialogue, a sacred space where you not only pour out your heart but also quiet your spirit to hear me speak back to yours. I long to speak to you in personal and profound ways, but you must learn to linger, to listen in the stillness after you have spoken. I desire to share my heart with you, to give you wisdom for your day, to comfort your anxieties, and to fill you with my peace. And my word, you have often treated it as a book of rules, a history text to be studied. It is so much more than that. It is my love letter to you. It is alive, and it is active. It is not just a book about me. It is a way you can encounter me, the living God. When you open its pages, do not just read the words. Invite me to speak to you through them. Ask me, Father, what do you want to show me today in this passage? You will be amazed at how it comes alive. And in our conversation, I do not want just the polished, edited version of you. I want all of you. Share your anger with me. Share your doubts, your fears, your frustrations. I am not afraid of your humanity. I created it. I am a safe place for your truest, most unfiltered emotions. I am not shocked by your weakness or offended by your questions. In fact, when you are truly honest with me, that is when our intimacy deepens. I long to hear the details of your day, not just the big crises, but the small joys, the quiet sorrows, the funny thing that happened at work, the person who was unkind to you. Nothing in your life is too insignificant for my attention. Our relationship is meant to be an active, breathing connection, a constant back and forth conversation that continues throughout your entire day. So I invite you, stop performing monologues for me, and enter into the beautiful, messy, wonderful dialogue of a real relationship. I am listening. My beloved, I have poured out upon you my grace, my mercy, and my forgiveness. You have tasted the sweetness of being loved in your imperfection. Now, I am inviting you to take that gift and let it change the way you see everyone around you. I invite you to see others through my eyes. I know this is one of the hardest things I will ever ask of you. You carry deep wounds, inflicted by the words and actions of others. Your natural response is to build walls, to hold on to bitterness, to protect your heart with the armor of unforgiveness. You look at the people who have hurt you, and you see them through the lens of your pain. You see an enemy, a source of injustice, a threat. But when I look at them, I see something different. That person who hurt you so deeply. They too are my child, and they are lost, living in their own pain. I see their wounds, the ones they have carried since childhood, the insecurities and fears that drive their behavior. This does not excuse their sin against you, but it changes your perspective, doesn't it? It moves you from a place of pure anger to a place of potential compassion. I am calling you to be a vessel of my forgiveness, not a storehouse of bitterness. Bitterness is a poison you drink, hoping the other person will die. It only corrodes your own soul, keeping you chained to the very person you despise. Forgiveness is not a feeling. It is a decision. It is the choice to release their debt to you, not because they deserve it, but because you deserve to be free. It is you canceling their debts so that the bitterness will no longer have power over you. I want you to look for the divine spark in every person you meet, even the most difficult ones. I have placed my image in each of them, however marred or hidden it may be. Your purpose on this earth is inextricably intertwined with serving and loving those I place in your path. This means letting go of judgment and embracing compassion, for you have been shown the greatest compassion of all. Be my hands and feet in a world that is desperate for a tangible expression of my love. This might mean offering a kind word to a rude cashier, having patience with a difficult family member, or praying for the person who betrayed you. It is in these small, costly acts of love that you most look like my son. It is a high and holy calling. It will require you to die to your own rights, your own sense of justice. But in doing so, you will find a freedom and a joy you have never known. My child, your impatience has been a source of great anxiety for you. You live in a world that promises instant results, and you have come to expect the same from me. You pray a prayer, and you expect the answer to arrive tomorrow. You face a trial, and you want the breakthrough immediately. You have compared your journey to others, seeing their answered prayers, their progress, their victories, and you have cried out, "What about me, Lord? Have you forgotten me? Let me quiet your anxious heart." The delays you experience are not my denials. They are my divine preparations. I operate on an eternal timeline, and my wisdom is perfect. You see a closed door. I see a moment of protection. You see a frustrating delay. I see a crucial period of growth. While you are anxiously pacing the floor of your waiting room, I am working behind the scenes in ways you cannot possibly comprehend. I am arranging circumstances, preparing the hearts of other people, and most importantly, I am preparing you to be able to handle the blessing you have asked for. If I gave you everything you asked for the moment you asked for it, some of those blessings would crush you. You need to be strengthened, your character needs to be forged, and your faith needs to be deepened so that when the breakthrough comes, you are ready to receive it with wisdom and steward it well. Think of a farmer. He plants a seed, and then he waits. He cannot dig it up every day to see if it's growing. He cannot shout at the ground to make it grow faster. He must trust the process. You must patiently wait through the seasons of hidden growth, knowing that beneath the surface, a miracle is taking place. You are in a season of waiting, but it is not a season of inactivity. In the chrysalis of your waiting, a profound transformation is happening. What you see as waiting, I see as working. Trust my process. I am never early, and I am never late. I am always precisely on time. Your impatience does not speed up my plan. It only steals your peace. So I invite you to surrender your timeline to me. Release your tight grip on how and when you think your prayers should be answered. Find rest in the absolute assurance that I am good, I am for you, and my timing is always perfect. Trust me in the waiting, and you will find a peace that the world's instant gratification can never offer. You see now the wisdom in my waiting, but to leave this dialogue would be to agree with my heart but refuse my hand. It would wound me to see you attempt to face the waiting in your own strength, when I am about to offer you a boldness that shatters fear. Our sacred time is not over. There is more I must give you. For too long, my child, fear has been your counselor. It has been the loudest voice in your head, dictating your decisions, limiting your potential, and keeping you in a small, safe, but miserable prison. You have been held captive by the fear of failure, so you don't take risks. You have been paralyzed by the fear of what others think, so you hide your true self. You have been tormented by the fear of the future, so you cannot find peace in the present. This fear is a prison, but I want you to look closely at the walls. They are made of smoke. I want you to look at the door. It is not locked. You have been sitting in a cell of your own making, and today, I am giving you the key to walk out. Fear is not your inheritance from me. I have not given you a spirit of fear, but one of power, of love, and of a sound mind. Let's break that down. I have given you a spirit of power, the same power that raised Christ from the dead lives in you. You are not weak or helpless. You are a carrier of my divine strength. I have given you a spirit of love, and my perfect love casts out all fear. When you are rooted in the reality of my unconditional love for you, the fear of rejection, the fear of failure, and the fear of being abandoned begin to lose their grip. My love is the antidote to your fear, and I have given you a spirit of a sound mind. Fear creates chaos in your thoughts. It makes you rehearse every possible negative outcome. A sound mind, my mind, brings clarity, peace, and self-control. It allows you to take your fearful thoughts captive and make them obedient to the truth. You must stop rehearsing what could go wrong and start declaring what I have promised will go right. Your future is held securely in my hands. There is nothing to truly fear. I invite you to walk as the child of the King that you are. Stop walking with your head down, as if you are an orphan hoping for scraps. Lift your head high, not in arrogance, but in the holy assurance of your identity. You are a child of God, an heir to the kingdom. When you walk into a room, my presence walks in with you. The Lion of the tribe of Judah walks beside you. What enemy, what circumstance, what fear has any right to make you tremble? It is time to serve an eviction notice on fear. It has been a squatter in your soul for far too long. Command it to leave in the name of my Son, and step out of that prison into the bold, adventurous, and gloriously free life I have called you to live. My child, you are exhausted. I see it not just in the weariness of your body, but in the deep fatigue of your soul. You have been running, striving, and hustling for so long, caught on the world's frantic treadmill of performance and productivity. You live in a culture that worships busyness, one that has taught you to equate your self-worth with your to-do list. And so, you never truly stop. Even when your body is still, your mind is racing, planning the next day, worrying about the next project, replaying your mistakes, and calculating your next move. The world offers you its version of rest, a weekend of binge-watching shows, an hour of scrolling through the lives of others, a vacation so packed with activities that you return more tired than when you left. These things may provide a temporary distraction, but they are like putting a small bandage on a deep wound. They do not restore your soul. They cannot touch the soul-deep weariness that comes from carrying the weight of your own life. I am inviting you into a different kind of rest, a true rest. True rest is not found in the absence of activity, but in the presence of me. It is a state of your heart, a ceasing of your own striving, and a confident trust in my finished work. I gave you the gift of the Sabbath, not as another rule to follow, but as a loving invitation to restoration. It is a deliberate, joyful declaration once a week that you are not in control, that the world will not fall apart if you stop holding it up, and that your value is not in what you produce. It is a gift of time to delight in me, to enjoy my creation, and to let your soul breathe again. But this rest is available to you every moment of every day. It is the rest of choosing to cease from your own works. For your entire life, you have been trying to work your way to peace, work your way to acceptance, work your way to righteousness. It is an exhausting and impossible task. On the cross, my Son declared, "It is finished." The work has been done. Your salvation is secure. Your acceptance is complete. You can stop working for what you already possess. Let my peace, which transcends all your anxious thoughts and your chaotic circumstances, stand guard over your heart and your mind. This is not a peace you have to manufacture. It is a peace you receive as you surrender. So come to me, you who are weary and carrying heavy burdens. Stop. Lay down the weight of your own efforts. Let go of the need to prove yourself. Enter into my presence and let me give you rest. This is not a suggestion. It is a lifeline I am offering to your tired soul. My beloved, now that I have invited you into my true rest, you feel the peace that the world cannot give. But countless others are still running, striving, and collapsing under the weight I long to lift from them, unable to see the rest that awaits. If your spirit moves with compassion to extend the sacred invitation to another weary soul, then your time to act is now. Through your giving, you are sending out a river of my living water to those dying of thirst in the wilderness of their own efforts. Hear my decree over you. As you have provided a drink for my little ones, so I will ensure your own well never runs dry. I will anoint your finances with the oil of my favor, and what you sow in faith will return to you a harvest of profound peace. Do not delay this holy work. Release your gift of rest now through Super Thanks membership with a secure link I have provided below. For so long, you have confused mere existence with true life. You have been settling for a life of survival, a life lived in shades of gray, when I have come to offer you a life of glorious, vibrant, and overflowing abundance. You must understand the contrast. The enemy of your soul has a mission statement: to steal, to kill, and to destroy. He comes to steal your joy with worry and comparison. He comes to kill your God-given dreams with discouragement and fear. He comes to destroy your peace with chaos and confusion. And if you are honest, you have felt the effects of his work. You have lived in a state of quiet desperation, just trying to get through the day, the week, the month. You have accepted this as normal. But that is not the life I have for you. My mission statement is this: I have come that you may have life, and have it to the full, until it overflows. This abundant life is not what the world tells you it is. It is not about accumulating more wealth, more possessions, or more experiences. That is a shallow and fragile abundance. The life I offer is a deep, spiritual richness that no one can ever take from you. It is a life of joy that is gloriously independent of your circumstances. You have known a happiness that comes when things are going well, but that happiness is fragile and vanishes when the storm hits. The joy I give is a deep well within your spirit, fed by my presence, that continues to offer life-giving water even in a season of drought. Abundant life is a life of profound peace in the midst of life's inevitable storms. The world can only offer peace in the absence of trouble. I offer you a peace that can stand firm in the eye of the hurricane, a supernatural calm that guards your heart when everything around you is shaking. And here is the great, beautiful paradox. This abundant life is found not in getting, but in giving. It is discovered not in being served, but in serving. A world tells you to build your own kingdom, to look out for yourself, to put yourself first. I tell you that if you want to find your life, you must lose it. You must pour yourself out for me and for others. It is in that pouring out that you will be filled to overflowing. Stop settling for a life of mere survival. That is not your portion. I did not go to the cross so that you could live a boring, restricted, and fearful life. I went to the cross to unleash heaven's abundance into your very soul. This life begins the moment you stop trying to build your own small, safe life and surrender to the grand, adventurous, and gloriously abundant life that I have always planned for you. There is a deep fear in your heart, a wound that has been there for a very long time. It is the fear of abandonment. You have experienced it in your life. People, even those who love you, have left. Promises have been broken. You have known the cold, sharp pain of being alone. And because of that wound, you have struggled to truly believe my promise. You fear that I, too, will eventually leave, that your next big mistake will be the one that finally drives me away. My child, I need you to hear this promise as if for the first time. Let it be a healing balm on that old wound. I will never leave you nor forsake you. This is not a hopeful wish or a poetic sentiment. It is the most foundational and unshakable reality of your existence. There is no place you can go, physically or emotionally, where my presence cannot reach you. When you walk through the valley of the shadow of death, through seasons of grief and loss so dark you cannot see your own hand in front of your face, I am with you. You may not feel me, but my rod and my staff are there, protecting you, guiding you through the darkness. When you find yourself in the fire of an agonizing trial, a situation so painful it feels like it will consume you, look closely. I am in the fire with you. The flames will not consume you because you are not alone in them. Even in the stillness, in the long, monotonous seasons where life feels boring and it seems like nothing is happening, I am with you. My presence is not just for the crises, it is for the mundane, for the ordinary moments of your day. I am the air you breathe, the constant, life-sustaining reality that you can always depend on. You will never be alone again. Read those words again. Let them sink into your spirit. You will never, ever be alone again. My presence is your ultimate protection from the enemy. It is your deepest comfort in your sorrow. It is your unfailing guide when you do not know which way to turn. There will be times when your feelings will lie to you. There will be times when you feel distant from me, when your prayers seem to hit the ceiling. In those moments, you must choose to trust my promise over your feelings. Your feelings are fickle, changing like the weather. My promise is an anchor, steadfast and sure, rooted in the very character of who I am. I cannot break it because I am a faithful God. I am with you now as you hear these words, and I will be with you tomorrow when you wake. I will be with you until the very end of the age, and then for all of eternity. This is my covenant with you. This strength you feel, this promise of my presence, this is the provision for your journey. But to stop now would be like a weary traveler seeing their home in the distance, only to sit down and go no further. Do not grieve your Father's heart by halting at the final mile. Stay just a little longer, for I am about to show you the eternal victory and bring you fully home. You have looked at your weakness and you have called it a disqualification. You have measured your own limited strength against the challenges you face, and you have despaired. You have said, I can't do this. I am not strong enough. And to that I say, finally, you are beginning to understand. For as long as you believe you are strong enough, you will rely on yourself. But when you finally come to the end of your own strength, you are at the very beginning of discovering mine. Your weakness is not your liability. It is the very entry point for my supernatural power. When you are weak, then I am strong within you. My grace, which is my divine empowerment, is always sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect and shows itself most brilliantly in your weakness. The world worships strength, but I operate in the economy of grace, where the humble are exalted and the weak are made strong. I promise you renewed strength, but it may not come in the way you expect. You are looking for a surge of your own willpower, a new reserve of human resilience. I am offering you something far better. Those who wait upon me will renew their strength. They will mount up with wings like eagles. They will run and not be weary. They will walk and not faint. To wait upon me does not mean to sit passively and do nothing. It means to live in a state of active, hopeful dependence on me. It is the conscious choice to stop leaning on your own understanding and to lean your full weight on me. Think of an eagle. It does not fight against the wind. It does not exhaust itself by flapping its wings endlessly. It waits for the thermal currents, the unseen movements of the air, and then it spreads its wings and soars, effortlessly lifted to great heights. My spirit is that thermal current. Stop flapping so hard. Stop striving in your own energy. Wait. Trust. And let me lift you. I know you fear being given more than you can bear, but that is a misunderstanding of my promise. I will not give you more than you can bear without also providing a way of escape. That way of escape is not always a removal of the problem. Often, it is an infusion of my strength to endure the problem with grace and peace. You do not have to muster the strength for all of your tomorrows today. I will provide it when tomorrow comes. Today, just lean on me. Lean on me, and you will find a strength you never knew you possessed. A strength that does not come from you but flows through you, from me. My child, you have been fighting your battles as if the outcome is still in doubt. I have seen the weariness in your spirit, the fear that creeps in when a struggle goes on for too long. You look at the giants in your life, the persistent sin, the overwhelming circumstance, the spiritual opposition, and you feel small and weak, wondering if this will be the battle that finally takes you down. You have been fighting for victory, hoping that if you are good enough, strong enough, and faithful enough, you might win. Today, I want to radically change the way you fight. Listen to me. The final battle has already been won. The war is over. When my son hung on the cross, he was not a martyr for a losing cause. He was a king, conquering all the powers of darkness for all time. His cry of "It is finished" was not a cry of defeat. It was a declaration of ultimate, eternal victory. It was a final checkmate against sin, death, and the grave. Because of this, you do not fight for victory anymore. You now fight from a position of victory. This changes everything. Imagine a soldier on a battlefield, exhausted from the fight, who suddenly receives word from his king that the war hath been won, the peace treaty hath been signed, and the enemy has unconditionally surrendered. Does he throw down his weapons in fear? No, he rises with a new boldness. He is no longer fighting to win the war, but to enforce the peace that has already been won. This is your position. Sin, your greatest enemy, has lost its power over you. Death has lost its sting. The grave has lost its victory. Yes, in this world you will still have trouble. You will still face skirmishes. The defeated enemy will still roar, trying to convince you that the war is not over. But you must remember that you are not fighting a powerful, reigning foe. You are dealing with a defeated terrorist who has no true authority over you. You are simply cleaning up the last pockets of resistance. I have given you everything you need for this. You have my name, which causes demons to tremble. You have my word, which is a sword. You have my spirit, who gives you power. And you have this unshakable promise. Nothing, no trouble, no hardship, no persecution, no famine, no danger, and no enemy can ever separate you from my love. Nothing can snatch you from my hand. Your eternal destiny is not in question. It is secure. It is glorious. So lift your head, warrior. The outcome is not in doubt. The victory is already yours. Fight from that truth and watch your enemies scatter. The world you live in is filled with chaos. Your mind is bombarded every day with news of turmoil, with pressures from your job, with anxieties about your family, and with the constant, unsettling hum of uncertainty. I see how this chaos outside has become a storm inside of you. Your thoughts race. You overthink every decision. You lie awake at night replaying conversations and worrying about tomorrow. You have accepted this mental and emotional turmoil as a normal part of life. It is not. Anxiety and worry are not your portion as my child. I have a promise for you, a promise of profound and supernatural tranquility. I will keep in perfect peace the one whose mind is stayed on me. Read that again. Worth and peace. Not a temporary truce, not a fragile calm, but a deep, abiding peace that holds you steady even when the world around you is falling apart. But this promise comes with a condition, an invitation for you to participate. This peace is for the one whose mind is stayed on me. You have been staying your mind on your problems. You have been focusing on your fears. You have been meditating on the what-ifs. You have been giving your primary mental real estate to the sources of your anxiety. I am inviting you to make a conscious, deliberate choice to shift your focus. When your thoughts begin to race with worry, you must stop and turn your mind to me. Remember who I am, your creator, your redeemer, your protector. Remember my promises, that I will never leave you, that I will provide for you, that I will work all things for your good. It is a discipline, a muscle you must choose to exercise. The chaos of the world does not have to become the chaos of your heart. I have given you a spirit of power, of love, and of a sound mind. A sound mind is one that is stable, ordered, and self-controlled. It is a mind that is not tossed back and forth by every wave of fear or circumstance. Through my spirit, I give you the power to take your anxious thoughts captive. You do not have to be a slave to them. You can challenge them with the truth of my word. I give you this direct command and invitation. Cast all your anxieties on me. Do not just talk to me about them. Give them to me. Visualize yourself taking that specific worry that is consuming you and placing it into my strong, capable hands. You can do this because I care for you deeply. I am not burdened by your worries. I am honored when you trust me with them. My peace is a gift the world cannot give and that your circumstances cannot take away. It is an anchor for your soul in the midst of the storm. This may be the hardest and yet the most beautiful promise for you to embrace. You have looked at the landscape of your life, and you see broken pieces. You see the jagged edges of your own mistakes. You see the deep cracks formed by the sins of others against you. You see the gaping holes left by loss and tragedy. And in your heart, you have thought, this is a wasteland. This is ruined. Nothing good can ever come from this. You have questioned my goodness, wondering how a loving God could allow such painful things to happen. My beloved child, you see the tangled mess of threads on the back of the tapestry. You see the chaos, the knots, the seemingly random and clashing colors. But I am the master weaver, and I am working from the other side. From my perspective, every single one of those threads, even the dark, ugly, painful ones, is being woven together to create a breathtaking masterpiece. This is my promise to you. I will work all things together for your good. Now, you must understand this promise correctly. It is not a promise that all things will feel good. It is not a promise that I call evil things good. Betrayal is evil. Sickness is evil. Death is an enemy. This promise does not erase the pain of those things. Instead, it is a promise of redemption. It is a promise that my sovereign power is so great that I can take the very worst things, things I never intended for you, things the enemy meant to destroy you, and I can redeem them. I can cause them to ultimately serve a glorious purpose in your life and for my kingdom. Think of Joseph, betrayed by his brothers and sold into slavery. What they meant for evil, I meant for good, for the saving of many lives. This is how I work. I am the master recycler of the soul. Give me your past mistakes, the ones that fill you with the deepest shame. I will use them to forge in you a deep humility and a powerful compassion for other struggling people. Give me the wounds you have suffered at the hands of others. I will turn your greatest pain into your most effective ministry. Give me your most heartbreaking loss. I will use that empty space to fill you with more of myself than you have ever known. This promise has a condition. It is for those who love me and are called according to my purpose. When you place your life in my hands, you are giving me the authority to take every event, every circumstance, and every relationship and weave them into my perfect design. Trust my process even when you cannot see my plan. No thread, dark or light, will be wasted. In the end, you will look back and see not a random collection of painful events, but a beautiful, coherent story of my unfailing grace. My child, let your heart find its ultimate anchor in this truth. This world, with all its beauty and all its brokenness, is not your final home. You are a citizen of a heavenly kingdom, a pilgrim just passing through. You are an ambassador living on a temporary, foreign assignment, and your heart longs for home because you were made for another place. This is why you have always felt a sense of dissatisfaction with this world, why even in your happiest moments there is a quiet whisper that something is missing. You were made for perfection. You were made for a world where there is no more pain. Do not let your heart be troubled by the state of this world, by the news, by the injustice, by the suffering. I have gone to prepare a place for you. In my Father's house are many rooms, and I am preparing one specifically for you. It is a real place, a place of unimaginable beauty and perfect peace. A day is coming, and it is coming sooner than you think, when I will wipe every tear from your eyes. On the day, there will be no more death, no more sorrow, no more crying, and no more pain. All the old order of things will have passed away. The struggles you face now, which feel so heavy and all-consuming, are temporary and light in comparison to the eternal weight of glory that is being prepared for you. Hold on to this hope. Let it be the fuel that keeps you going when you are weary. Your present sufferings are not worthy to be compared with the glory that will be revealed in you. I have prepared for you an inheritance that can never perish, spoil, or fade. Unlike your earthly treasures that rust and decay, this inheritance is kept in heaven for you, pure and undefiled, guarded by my power. This is not a fairy tale or a wishful thought. It is the guaranteed destiny of every one of my children. I long for that day, the day when your faith will become sight, the day when I will welcome you home, and you will see me face to face, the day when all your questions will be answered, and all your wounds will be finally and forever healed. Until that day, live in this world, but do not be of it. Let the hope of your heavenly home give you courage for your earthly journey. It will give you the perspective to hold loosely to the things of this world and to hold tightly to me. Your true home is waiting. We have walked a long road together in this conversation. I have laid my heart bare to you. I have peeled back the veil to show you the unspoken ache of my patience as I have waited for you. I have shown you the truth about the world's noise, the enemy's lies, and the counterfeit comforts that could never satisfy you. I have told you the truth about my unchanging love, your sacred purpose, your true identity, and the boundless grace that has covered you all along. I have shown you the meaning behind your suffering and the eternal victory that has already been won for you. I have promised you my unfailing presence, my renewed strength, a sound mind, perfect peace, and a glorious home that is waiting for you. The waiting is over, my child. The message has been delivered. All that I have described, the freedom, the rest, the abundance, it is all yours for the taking. The only thing missing from this picture is your full surrender. I have done everything that can be done. I have pursued you, spoken to you, and paid the ultimate price for you. Now, the choice is yours. You can continue to wander in the wilderness of your own striving, trying to quench your thirst at broken wells, or you can step into the promised land of my love. You can continue to carry your heavy burdens, or you can lay them down and take up my light and easy yoke. The door to my presence has always been open. I have just been waiting, with a father's longing, for you to turn the knob and walk through. The Father's house is ready. A feast has been prepared in your honor. The best rope has been brought out. A ring has been chosen for your finger, and all of heaven is waiting to celebrate your return. My child, my beloved, every word I have spoken to you has been a testament to this truth. I waited in pain for you to see this. I have shown you everything. Now, please, with all the love in the universe, I ask you, come home. You have heard my plea. You have felt my arms open to welcome you home, and the great celebration is ready. But my Father's heart still aches for the multitudes wandering in the wilderness, who have not yet heard my call and cannot see the path that leads back to me. If this message has been your lifeline, I am now pointing you to throw that same line to another who is drowning in the dark. Your support is not a donation. It is you placing my manna, the bread of life, into the hands of those who are starving for truth. The fields are white for a great harvest of souls, and this is your divine moment to send forth the fire of this word. And this is my decree for you. Freely you have received this homecoming, and as you freely give, I will establish your own house upon a rock that cannot be shaken. Therefore, answer the call. Send forth the provision for another soul's rescue now through super thanks, membership, or my ordained link in the description. My child, do not let this sacred moment fade back into the noise. My painful wait has now become your glorious beginning, and all of heaven stands to witness your response. I anoint your heart with this truth, so rise now and seal this encounter in faith. Declare it for the world to see, as a sign that you have finally understood, by proclaiming with all your heart, my eyes are open, and I am coming home. Amen. If you believe in me, your Heavenly Father, then like this video and leave a heartfelt amen in the comments. If you want to stay closer to me, then subscribe to this channel.